The place looks pretty when it's full. The zoo is sold out for a visit from the number 2 team in the land. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Missouri is their conference opener. For Georgia, already a winner at South Carolina, presented by Xfinity. Temps in the mid-60s under clear skies. And it's a glorious morning here in Columbia, which is not the capital of Missouri. That's Jefferson City. Here's Brian Greasy. I'm Steve Levy. 5 of the top 10 teams in the country on the road this weekend. We saw Penn State in a battle in Champaign last night into the third quarter. Will Georgia be tested into the fourth today?
I think so. I think this is going to be a football game, and certainly Georgia, passed the test against South Carolina, but this is a different challenge. I think the biggest question for Georgia remains this defense. They lost so many starters from a year ago. Roquan Smith, Davin Bellamy, Lorenzo Carter, just at the linebacker position. I'm fascinated today to see that defense go up against Drew Lock and an explosive Missouri offense.
Lost a couple of running backs, too. We'll get into that. A couple nights ago we're at dinner. We're watching Baker Mayfield against Sam Darnold on an NFL field. In a year from now, Todd McShay, what are we saying about Drew Lock?
I think we'll be saying that he was a first-round pick and maybe starting in the NFL somewhere in year 1. When NFL scouts go to evaluate Lock and any quarterback, they want to see the best defenses. So what scouts are going to do is put in the Georgia tape and the Alabama tape. So this is one of the 2 most critical games that he's going to play in his career. Lock now has the keys to the car. He's setting protections, he's identifying defenses, he's playing the quarterback position for the first time in his life this year in a new system, and he's doing a great job so far. I'm excited to see him today. He's going to have to play big if Missouri's going to pull off this upset.
And Todd is all decked out in gold. It's the Gold Rush game. An annual favorite for the fans and for the Tigers of Missouri, who come in 3-0. The Bulldogs come in at 3-0 as well. Georgia has won the toss, and they will receive. Tucker McCann has the ball on a tee. And we are underway from Columbia. Mecole Hardman from the goal line. Look to run it out. And it's a burst right up the middle. And Hardman is out to the 35. And so Jake Fromm and company will start with excellent field position. The native of Warner Robins, Georgia. 12,745 yards passing in high school, 4th most in Georgia history. And a year ago, as a freshman, led the Bulldogs to the national championship game. A couple of inches either way. There were a lot of inches left on that field a year ago in Atlanta, and the outcome could have gone the other way. First down and 10 for the Bulldogs, their own 34, and Fromm comes out throwing and completing to Tyler Simmons on first down. To the McShay matchup.
Well, this week we've got great running back play as usual with Georgia. DeAndre Swift is the guy this year. Versatile, he's explosive. Keep an eye on number 24 from Missouri, Terez Hall. He's emotional, he's the leader of this defense, he flies around, and he's also going to have to match up in coverage against number 7, Swift.
You mentioned at the top of the loss, you said all the great defensive players in loss. No Nick Chubb, no Sony Michel, and DeAndre Swift steps in nicely. Here's the handoff. It is Swift, his first carry, and he's got first down yardage. He was the 3rd running back behind Chubb and Michel a season ago, and when he got the football, he still averaged 7.5 yards per carry.
There's not many teams in college football that lose a guy like Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, and none of the coaches have any concern, right? Not only DeAndre Swift, but they got 3 other backs with Elijah Holyfield, Harrion, and James Cook, the brother of Dalvin Cook. We'll see all 4 of them in this game probably today.
Out to midfield on this opening drive for Georgia. On the ground, it's Swift again, picking and choosing, and this time will be dropped for a loss. Cam Hilton came up from his strong safety spot.
There's no question what Georgia is going to want to do early in this game. They did it against South Carolina. They did it all last year. Come out and run the football and be physical with his big offensive line, but give credit to Missouri early. Hilton, the safety, they're going to get 8, 9 guys up around the line of scrimmage, and they have to get tackles for loss in this game.
Second down and 11. James Cook, the true freshman from Miami, checks in. 2 tight ends set here for the Bulldogs. Fromm trying to set up the screen, and it is well set up to Cook. And he is very close and has first down. Well, maybe they spot him just a yard short. But that wipes out the loss in the previous play.
Yeah, really nice job by Jake Fromm. He's going to identify the blitz off the edge, doesn't panic, knows exactly where to go with the football. You get the ball in the hands of James Cook, and he's going to get some extra yardage. One of the biggest differences in Jake Fromm and talking with Kirby Smart is the recognition, the confidence of seeing every receiver and every progression on the field. It's the biggest difference from a year ago for number 11.
3rd down and 1. Give it to Elijah Holyfield, and he has just enough to get first down yardage and move the sticks. So we've already seen 3 running backs used by Georgia behind that great offensive line.
Yeah, these guys average 320 pounds, and they lost Isaiah Wynn, the draft pick for the Patriots at right tackle. Isaiah Wilson's a redshirt freshman, will be starting at right tackle. Their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, was injured against South Carolina, but looks like he's a go today. He's at left tackle right now.
Wynn tore his Achilles on his very first professional action in a preseason game. Here's Fromm taking a shot just beyond Nicole Hardman. Cam Hilton had the coverage. Pretty good ball there by Fromm.
It was a great throw there. That is Georgia to a T. Run the ball, be physical, and then hard play action to one of their fastest players on the team in Hardman. That ball was perfectly thrown. I thought Hardman had a chance. Give credit to Hilton at the end.
Hilton paid the price as well. He's come off the field. Joshua Bledsoe has replaced Hilton now. We'll keep an eye on him. 2nd down and 10 at the 39 of Mizzou. Pitch to Holyfield. Try the left side. And a swarming defense led by Bledsoe in his first play. Replacing Hilton, he comes up with the tackle.
Brings up a big 3rd down and 9 here in plus territory. Mass substitution for Georgia to see if Barry Odom decides to dial up some pressure on Jake Fromm.
Holyfield is the setback. Fromm to throw. Has time to step up and throws the double coverage, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Christian Holmes. And the first big play of the game to Missouri.
A great job by Missouri defensively coming up with the scheme. You get a team in 3rd and long situations, and you're going to bring pressure. Right here, the pressure's going to come, and you're going to drop into a zone. Jake Fromm reads it, makes an accurate throw to Hardman, but Hardman doesn't realize he's right in between 2 Missouri defenders, and a great job by Holmes of just being physical and ripping that football away. Most DBs, Steve, would just knock it out, but he's looking for the turnover.
Holmes, the sophomore, it's his first career interception. He had a big 4th down pass breakup a week ago, and here he makes a big play in the first quarter on the interception of Fromm. And it's time for Drew Lock and company. And Lock comes out throwing. Able to complete to his tight end, Kendall Blanton. You see some of the measurables on Lock.
Yeah, and certainly he's got the size, he's got the arm strength, can throw the ball, as far as you need to throw. You see the stats last year, 44 touchdown passes. But I think the biggest difference with Drew Lock is he has changed his definition of success. And it's not about stats, it's not about touchdown passes, it's about winning. And that's a different approach for him.
Lock to throw again. Has good time. It has a man wide open. It's Tyler Beatty out of the backfield. Tyler Beatty down the sideline. They're going to say he's out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. You can see the official.
That was close, Steve. Unbelievable athletic play by Beatty. And I think his right foot will be the foot in question. He's coming out of the backfield. He's the halfback, 3rd string halfback, but he's a great receiver. And as he tries to tiptoe down the sideline, his right foot right there, I think, is the one they're talking about.
It goes for 25 instead of 6.
That's a good call.
Game inches, indeed.
Great matchup there early for Missouri offensively, getting him matched up on a wheel route.
Here come the Tigers. From the 41 of Georgia on the ground, a Larry Roundtree.
Number 34.
Roundtree had a career high 168 yards rushing on 23 carries a week ago. in the last-second win at Purdue. Tyler Clark to stop.
So out is Josh Heupel, who went to be the head coach at UCF, and in is Derek Dooley. Remember him?
Yes.
SEC fans remember Derek Dooley from Tennessee. He comes over from the Dallas Cowboys. He was there for 5 years, and this offense is going to look a little different.
A lot of skilled position players lined up to the left. Locke is hit as he throws, and he throws to the right. And it's Nate Brown who'll say it was incomplete. That brings up a 3rd down and 9.
And the biggest difference in talking with Derek Dooley, he said, I want to keep the good parts of this offense. And Drew Lock, one of the best quarterbacks in college football, throwing the ball all over the lot. But we also don't want to be feast or famine. That's how they felt they were a year ago offensively. And so now they want to run the football, take a little bit of pressure off their defense. We'll see if they can do that against a good Georgia front. 3rd
down and 9. Roundtree, the back, is split out top of your screen. So Locke is all alone at the Georgia 46. The 2 to snap it. 1 to snap it. They just get it away in time. There's a helmet loose on the field. And the pass goes incomplete. Let's see.
Normally when an offensive lineman loses the helmet, it's illegal hands to the face by the defense.
That's Yasir Durant.
If this is on Georgia, be a 1st down and a big one at that. You see Brenton Cox, number 1. I don't think it was intentional. Just got his hand up around the face mask, and I think that's going to be your call.
Mark Curls is our referee today. It's an SEC officiating crew. That's an inside joke that we find hysterical every week.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal formation, or excuse me, illegal touching. Number 11 was covered up, went downfield, and touched the pass. Personal foul, face mask, number 1 defense. Those fouls offset. Replay 3rd down. Number 70 of the offense may remain in the game.
Otherwise, that would be a good trick. You knock a guy's helmet off on purpose, get him out of the game for a play.
Here's Blanton right here. They're saying he's covered up by Emmanuel Hall. Excuse me, Blanton was the tight end attached, and he was covered up by the slot receiver. Mistake there.
Here's 3rd and 9. Lock in as he throws. He sent flying backwards. He completes to his tight end, and the ball comes out. It's Georgia's football. It's Tyson Campbell on the fumble return. And Campbell all the way to the house. Wow. Inches from converting on a 1st down. Drew Lock hit his tight end Albert Okwuegbunam, and he could not hang on to the football.
Yeah, Okwuegbunam was trying to fight for extra yardage to get the 1st down. It looked to me, Steve, like his forward progress had been stopped. Go back and take a look at this. Catches the football, and normally when that forward progress is stopped, right here the whistle blows, and there's a late strip by Tyson Campbell. Give credit to Campbell, but I think the official should have blown that whistle, blown it dead.
And Mark Webb was there as well, along with Campbell. Wow. Our truck has not been called for a review, and now wait a second. Missouri has called for a timeout. Give some people some more time to look at things if they want to. Back in Columbia, Missouri, some action here early. It's a 69-yard fumble return for a score by the true freshman Tyson Campbell. Has Georgia with the lead. So each team has traded turnovers very early on here in the 1st quarter. Rodrigo Blankenship is on. He has never missed an extra point. 107 for 107. Thankfully, no announcer jinx there. 7-0 Georgia. Let's go back to the turnover. Reese, you mentioned forward progress. There is no review for that. The whistle never blew.
Yeah, that's not a reviewable play of forward progress unless you're trying to get in the end zone or a first down. But I think clearly that should have been blown dead. Bunham was stopped and going backwards, and certainly the beneficiary, Tyson Campbell, he's just doing his job, fight until you hear the whistle, and there was no whistle blown. That's a good play by Georgia. I think it was a missed call by the official. Same way that South Carolina game started, right? With the interception return from DeAndre Baker.
Go back to that from a couple games ago. DeAndre Baker intercepts a deflected pass. And this got Kirby very upset. Celebrated shy of the goal line. He drops the football. Fortunately, Jawan Taylor picked it up. Taylor said he didn't realize he was scoring a touchdown. He thought he was picking it up to hand it to the official. And he gets credit for the touchdown.
I had to tell him after the game that you actually scored your first touchdown. I said, what?
That is amazing.
The challenge now is how does Missouri respond, because that set the tempo for that game and ended up being a 41-17 game, which we thought would be a lot closer.
Beatty from the 6. Able to get to the outside. And he'll be pushed out at the 32. And a flag comes in on that Georgia bench.
Speaking of DeAndre Baker,
that's him.
Kirby might still be upset with him.
Again,
After the run was out of bounds, personal foul, number 18, kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Adnan Burke has never committed a personal foul.
Steve Levy, I'm a pacifist. That is absolutely correct. An update on Nebraska and Michigan. Here's Karan Higdon busting this one through for 46 yards. Ben Mason would punch it in, and the Wolverines have 7-0 over Nebraska. Scott Frost's team off to 0-2 start, and Ole Miss is hosting Kent State. Here's Jordan Ta'amu to Scotty Phillips. Get Phillips weaving his way through traffic. 7-0. That's on the SEC Network. Leave.
All right, Adnan, thank you.
You tell Adnan to keep bringing those Michigan highlights against Nebraska. Everybody's been talking about 21 years ago playing against Nebraska.
Demarie Crockett, the ball carrier, and he explodes down to the 32. Todd.
Well, the matchup we're watching here is going to be Emmanuel Hall, number 84, the wide receiver, averaging 24 yards per catch, going up against, I think, the most instinctive cornerback in college football, and that's number 18, DeAndre Baker.
17 yards there for Crockett. He'll try it again.
Todd, one of the things we need to watch with Emmanuel Hall is his health. He has been hobbled the last couple of weeks, dealing with a painful growing injury. He missed the majority of the game a week ago. And so certainly he's an explosive player. Had 2 touchdowns in this game a year ago. He's the deep threat of this offense, but he has to be healthy to exploit that.
2nd down and 6. Here's Locke to throw and complete. It's Bunham, and he has the first down yardage and hangs on to the football this time.
Yep. They need 81. They need him in this offense. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife. He's a tight end, but he's a former wide receiver. You see he'll line up in the formation extended quite a bit.
Zoo going fast here on the ground to Crockett. They'll get some forward progress there. Tyler Clark and David Marshall stop him after a 1-yard gain.
See early on a couple of creases on the inside, and Barry Odom wants to establish that running game. Didn't feel like that was consistent enough a year ago. That's been the difference all offseason for Missouri, and it's going to be a challenge against the stout Georgia front, but they have to have that inside-outside balance.
2nd down and 9. The 24 of Georgia. Locke has time for a cup of coffee. Zips it in there across the middle. It's Kendall Blanton. And they're going to say incomplete. Ball was ripped out.
But all day to throw the football. This offensive line giving Drew Lock plenty of time. And you see Blanton coming across. That's just a great job by DeAndre Walker. He's the player that's trying to replace Lorenzo Carter, the outside linebacker from a year ago. he has to be able to cover the tight end. That was a mismatch that Kirby Smart was concerned about coming into this game, how they were going to cover these two tight ends from Missouri.
3rd and 9 didn't go so well for the Tigers last time. Here's Locke trying to set up the screen. It's batted up in the air and knocked down. It'll be 4th down. Jonathan Ledbetter got his hand up to knock it down.
Great job there because the screen was set up. A lot of times these offensive coordinators will throw the screen in 3rd and long situations in the red zone fringe, and if Ledbetter doesn't get his paw on that football, it could have been a 1st down.
Here's Tucker McCann from 41. Had the game winner from 25 the final seconds a week ago to get Missouri on the board. McCann boots it through. And no good. To the right, he misses. And we're going to lose a lot of footballs on that end of the field. The opportunity for Barry Odom and Mizzou to get on the scoreboard. Denied.
ESPN College Football is presented by Xfinity. Now with ESPN3 available on Xfinity X1. And in part by Lexus. Experience amazing.
Here at Faurot Field, the first row of the student section is filled with the first 60 students in line. They wait for hours for the honor of getting painted with each week's slogan. Each student getting a number, letter, or a paw print. All part of the college experience here at Mizzou. Off the missed field goal, Georgia will take over with a 7-0 lead. 1st and 10 from their own 23. On the ground, first carry for Brian Herrian. 4th different running back to carry the football already for Georgia. Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Mizzou Tigers student section is already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete.
It's an incentive to go to the gym. You know, you can go up there and represent your school in the front row.
Who could use a little more incentive for that? I'm doing 2-a-days lately, Grease. You can probably tell. On the ground, Elijah Holyfield, the ball carrier.
We mentioned Andrew Thomas, the left tackle. He went down hard again. I mentioned he got hurt his ankle in that game against South Carolina. He just got rolled up on that same ankle again, Steve. And in comes true freshman Cade Mays. He's a 5-star recruit. Really excited about him. Tons of upside and talent, but just raw.
3rd and 4. 6 defensive backs in for Mizzou. It's like Faurot going to change the play there. See if he gets him into something he likes better. And a motion penalty.
False start, number 87, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Looked like Simmons was flagged. Todd.
This offensive line, I mean, you should see them in person. They're massive. They're all 6'4" to 6'6". They're all in that 320 to 350-pound range. And they could just lean on this Missouri defensive front, which is the strength of the defense, but they are so much bigger. In this case, though, they've got to do a good job in pass protection, is my guess.
I'm coming right after a left tackle, Todd. You get a true freshman in there in a 3rd down situation.
3rd down and 9. Faurot gets pressure up the middle, hit as he throws. It's knocked up in the air and comes down harmless. And Trey Williams got the pressure. Riley Ridley, the intended target.
That's exactly what they did, and it's smart from Barry Odom. You're going to attack this area right here. They're going to come one, and a little stunt, and Williams is going to come around. It's almost impossible for a young player at that position to know how to handle that situation early in a football game. It's just experience. Really well done from Missouri defensively.
Jonathan Johnson is back deep for Mizzou. True freshman Jake Camarda is the punter. They got one snap that away, and you heard clearly the whistles blow before the snap.
Before the snap, false start, number 87, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's Tyler Simmons again, second time on this series.
And that play was done from the start. Solomon Kindly was late getting onto the field, and they had to rush, and I think that's what led to that false start penalty. But Kindly's the starting left guard, 335 pounds. He's probably the largest personal punt protector in college football. There he is right here. I don't think I want to run into that guy.
Now again, they don't punt that often. Camarda would be among the top punters in the FBS, but he hasn't met the minimum amount of punts. And this one is short, really short. It bounced at midfield. It will take a Georgia bounce. But wow, excellent starting field position for Missouri. Here's Adnan.
All right, Leafs, thank you very much. CarMax Drive, what's possible. Studio update back to Michigan. This is just for Brian Greasy. Greasy, you wanted it? We got it for you. Karan Higdon's been an animal. 92 yards on 3 carries so far. Nebraska's last 0-3 start in 1945. It's all Wolverines, boys.
Just make sure they're positive reports, Adnan.
Reese has a little extra giddy up in his step this morning.
All week, people have been calling me, asking me about, the Michigan-Nebraska, the matchup for the BCS National Championship that never happened, right? Back in the day. Happy to report, Scott Frost was the quarterback in Nebraska that year, and happy to report that if that game would have happened, it would have been at least a 2-touchdown win for the Wolverines.
2 touchdown, got it. Larry Roundtree, the ball carrier. He'll get just out across midfield. They actually did a fake radio broadcast of the game. I sent you that this week because I care about you. Local radio station in Nebraska did a fake, War of the Worlds kind of thing. A fake radio broadcast of the game that never happened.
Let me guess, the Omaha station had Nebraska winning.
Yes, I think you lost by 2 touchdowns. Roundtree on the ground.
Roundtree, the ball.
And it's a first down.
Really good sign here from Missouri, running the ball between the tackles. He said that was going to be a key. That's been a point of emphasis for them. And they come out and right off the bat get a first down in positive territory after the poor punt.
The punt went for 36 yards. And Missouri's really had excellent starting field position. Just have no points to show for it. Coming up on 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. Roundtree on the ground. Knocked out by Tyson Campbell, who has the only score of the game. Todd.
No, I've been watching Emmanuel Hall. We talked about him, the vertical receiver for Missouri. So important that he's a part of this game today to try to stretch the field. But so far, watching him, he doesn't seem to have the same juice in his legs. He's got that groin injury he's been dealing with. Be interesting to see if he can turn it loose at some point.
2nd down and 7.
Yeah, Todd, I think he's going to be more of a decoy, it looks like, because he just, you have that groin. It takes a while to heal.
Rock throwing and completing for the first down yardage. It's Okuebunam.
M-I-Z.
On the ground on first down. It's Locke keeping it himself.
Boy, you're seeing some change of tempo from Missouri. Outstanding already. Getting into the red zone. I think Derek Dooley understands. He's trying to keep the same personnel grouping on the field for Georgia defensively to check their conditioning, Steve, early in this game.
Locke carried 5 times for 51 yards in the game against Wyoming, and people are flipping out about, look at the wheels. He got 10 on that last carry. Trying to set her up, wide open. It's the tight end, Albert O. Again, they keep going to him.
Well, Okuebunam makes the catch, but I think the ball was intended for the running back. Larry Roundtree came out on a wheel route, and 2 guys in the same spot. One of them is not right, but it works out for Missouri.
Usually you would attract too many defenders there, too.
I think that was supposed to go to Roundtree, and if Okuebunam had run the right route and cleared that side of the field out, it may have been a touchdown.
10 more yards on the plate. Mizzou rolling here. On the ground, it's Roundtree initiating some contact, and he picked up the first down easily. And they'll drop the sticks. It'll be a 1st and goal for the Tigers. Well, they keep going to Albert Okuebunam, the redshirt sophomore tight end, and I always appreciate the media guide.
What did you do?
Hey, try it once. Alberto is fine for all other references.
Oh, you're just trying to get off the hook. That's what that was.
We nailed that one every time.
We
every
did.
time.
Now I'm going to say Okue Boom for the rest of the game.
Because you're better. Alberto is just fine for me. Appreciate the assistance. Rock the throw, back in the end zone. It is incomplete. Nate Brown was there. Both officials in the neighborhood waving it off. Eric Stokes had the coverage.
Very close, well-thrown ball from Drew Lock, and Nate Brown never had that football in his control. Interesting, they haven't even targeted Emmanuel Hall yet in this football game. He's been their #1 receiver the past couple of years. He's matched up at the bottom of the screen.
On the ground, a Roundtree. Barreling his way. Still barreling. He gets there. Touchdown.
What an answer from the Missouri Tigers to talking about this offensive line for Georgia and how big and physical they are. And Missouri's tired of hearing about it. Their offensive line, who returned all 5 starters from a year ago, came out in that drive and made a physical statement.
Here's Tucker McCann, the junior for Illinois. Extra point on the way, and that is good.
An extra point means another $100.
Yeah, we're going to lose some footballs here today. This is 3/4 of a stadium and a quarter of a construction site. We'll get into that.
That was 100% effort there, though.
We are all tied up. Missouri always plays Georgia tight. On ABC, it's the big one of the weekend. Stanford heads up to take on Oregon in the top 20 showdown. Bryce Love expected back after sitting out last week. You know he was resting up for tonight. You can watch that game and every game on the ESPN app with ESPN Plus. Start your free trial of ESPN Plus today.
I'm excited to see Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, the quarterback for Oregon. I'm excited to see him. This is probably his biggest test in his career at Oregon.
Chance to really put himself on the map. Adnan Virk is already there.
All right, leaves Boston College and Purdue. This game's over on ESPN2. BC's off to a good start so far this year, 3-0. And Anthony Brown and Tommy Sweeney. John Tessitore, the extra point. 7-all through 1. It's on ESPN2 once again. Notre Dame and Wake Forest. Ian Book's second career start. First time since October 7th versus North Carolina last year. Jafar Armstrong, 30-yard touchdown. 7-3 Irish lead on ABC. Leaves.
Adnan, thank you. A lot of people loving Wake today. Going into the a lot of chatter about Wake today against Notre Dame.
Change your quarterbacks right before the game, right?
You gonna get that?
Yeah.
Third possession for Georgia in a tie game. It's DeAndre Swift with a big run on first down. And he's out beyond the 40-yard line, gain of 15.
Well, you talk about talented players. DeAndre Swift, when he gets in the open field, at 215 pounds, he's just so quick, and he's got a safety in that position ready to make a tackle, and he makes one shallow cut, and he gets another 10 yards.
Georgia had just 33 yards of offense prior to that play, and by far the longest play of the early day for Swift and the Bulldog. Holyfield has checked in now, and Fromm will hand it to him. Holyfield trying the left side. He's out across midfield.
Take a look at these backs and their skill set and their speed to the outside. Jim Chaney, their offensive coordinator, loves to run the ball on the edges. We were talking with him this week, and I asked him about the importance of the tight end, Isaac Nada, in this offense. He said, I don't know what I would do without a tight end. I love the tight end. He's so important for blocking the edge of the line of scrimmage to allow guys like Elijah Holyfield and Swift to get to the perimeter.
Final minute of the first quarter. It's Holyfield again, inside the 40, and he's dropped inside the 35. A lot of famous bloodlines. We mentioned James Cook. His older brother is Dalvin. Of course, Elijah Holyfield. He's one of Evander's 11 kids. 5 girls, 6 boys. two of them named Elijah, by the way. Elijah did some boxing at one point. He said, I don't want to get punched no more. It's a good reason to get out of boxing. Imagine that, 11 kids, two named Elijah. All 11, by the way, start with the first letter E. Final 20 seconds of the quarter. On the ground, back to DeAndre Swift.
I think this Missouri defense needs to get up to speed with these backs in a hurry, because these backs have a little bit more juice, a little bit more explosion than backs that this Missouri defense has been playing with so far this season. They just have not been up to their speed so far.
They faced UT Martin, Wyoming, and Purdue, scoring at least 40 in all those games. But their defense will be tested here today. We're 7-all after one in Columbia. Let's take a look at our blip-worthy plays brought to you by Goodyear.
You're going to see a lot more of these plays from Georgia offensively, running the ball to the edge of the formation. Elijah Holyfield has had two already. And I think, like we said, Missouri defensively has to ratchet up their approach to these backs. They have not seen this caliber of back so far this season. When they get to the open field, a little shallow cut made Khalil Oliver look silly, but that's going to be the MO for Georgia throughout this football game.
Last week it was the passing game by Purdue that really hurt that Missouri defense. David Blau throwing for a school record 572 yards through the air. It's DeAndre Swift on the ground.
And the defensive coordinator, Ryan Walters from Missouri, was really happy with the performance so far of these defensive backs in coverage. He made it a point yesterday when we met with him to talk about how the confidence just got down and they started to press a week ago, and this week so far they're playing well, and he went over to him after the last series and was high-fiving all of the defensive backs, letting them know, hey, you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, he said he equated it to a punch in the gut. And again, they won the game.
They're offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. Number 66 offense, 36 defense, 29 defense. Correction. Those fouls offset. They were their first unsportsmanlike conduct fouls of the game. It's third down.
That's Nate Anderson on the Mizzou side of things, and Solomon Kenley on the offensive line for Georgia.
And just getting back to Ryan Walters, that's what 572 yards of offense will do to you. But he said, at least we got the win. They're not going to face that kind of a passing game here today with Georgia.
3rd and 7. Rob's got time. Still has time. Able to unload to Nauta, the tight end. He's short of the marker. Nate Anderson came up to make sure of it.
Well, Nate Anderson made a boneheaded play with the unsportsmanlike penalty on the last play, but a nice job here playing in zone coverage. Here he is right here. He's going to drop off and just sit there and wait for the tight end to come into his zone. He comes in, doesn't interfere with him, makes the tackle to force a 4th down.
Good solo tackle. Here's Blankenship on. Rodrigo, the folk hero from a year ago. Attempting from 44 yards away to put Georgia back on top. Right into the construction zone. We brought a hard hat today.
Rodrigo Blankenship is good.
There you see. Again, this place is going to look beautiful next year, Grease. There's as you can see, there's quite a bit of renovation going on here at Memorial Stadium. They put $98 million into this place when all is said and done, and it should be. Where's McShay?
I thought McShay should be right about there, but he chickened out.
No. I had a safety meeting already before the game, and at one point you may see me on top of that.
Put a safety harness and get up there, Todd. Come on.
You guys were always such tough guys when you're protected up in that booth, right?
It's a great vantage point. It's like a high end zone camera up there, Todd.
But don't they say don't look down?
And there's no elevator, by the way, to get up there.
No, it's a 10-minute walk.
You better get started.
Straight up. Capacity was 71,000 here during the construction. It's down to 61,000. When it's all finished and beautiful for next season, it'll be some 65,000. Place is banged out today. They have sold out the building for number 2, Georgia. Bulldogs with a 10-7 lead after the field goal. And Beatty will let it sail over his head and out of the end zone.
Start 1st down and 10.
So again, they're working hard every day here in Columbia. This is Thursday at around 5 o'clock local time.
Yeah, where we're going here.
And those are the actual steps. 2 days later,
there was no cement in there.
That Georgia walked down those same steps.
Well, talk about pressure, right? You got to get that cement laid down because the team's coming a couple hours later.
Of course, Georgia enjoying their own renovation at their place. Put some $65 million into Sanford Stadium. A brand new locker room. All these stadiums, bigger and better everywhere we go across the country. And half of that's recruiting. On the ground, Rocket the ball carrying.
We've been talking about Georgia's offensive line. We still start talking about this Missouri offensive line, led by their center, Tristan Colon Castillo. Up front, Wallace Sims, the right guard. Paul Adams, the potential All-American candidate at right tackle, making his 28th consecutive start. These guys are taking this football game over.
Second and short. Lock to throw. And complete. First down yardage to Kendall Blanton, the tight end.
Go back to that touchdown. You see this offensive line coming off with 3 big double team blocks right here. Great job. Get on, cover up the defensive line and allow the running back to get through. That was a statement run there from Crockett.
And that is the first rushing touchdown allowed by Georgia this season. Hey, they haven't allowed a lot of touchdowns altogether, but still into the 4th game for allowing the first rushing touchdown of the season. On first down and 10, on the ground, it's Crockett. Out to the logo, out to the 42.
And what's interesting, this group, a year ago, they weren't quite as good, the offensive line for Missouri, but when you get 98 starts coming into a game, which is exactly what they have, you start to build a rapport, and I've been so impressed with them, not just in the run game, but also in pass protection all season long. You can tell Drew Lock is more comfortable in the pocket. Part of it's because he's setting protections, but also he trusts his offensive line.
Second down and 5. Here's Lock. They protect him well there. It's up in the air and an easy interception. It's picked off of Jonathan Johnson, and it's intercepted. It's Tate Crowder down to the 5. Second turnover by Missouri.
Boy, you can do everything, Drew Lock. Identify this blitz. There's going to be a forward blitz, and they're going to get picked up. And here's Johnson. Everything works perfectly. The line, the back, the quarterback, all do it perfectly. And you have one guy that breaks an assignment, and that's Johnson. Lets that ball go right through his hands, and it's a turnover. Takes all 11 guys on offense to make this thing work, and you got one guy, and Crowder's the beneficiary.
It's a 43-yard return for the junior from Hamilton, Georgia. First down and goal with Justin Fields in at quarterback. And he will move the pile down to the 4-yard line. No surprise, Fromm will take a seat and be replaced by Justin Fields in this game.
Yeah, Fields just came in for, looks like, one play there in the red zone. And typically he'll come in that area of the field to use his legs. He's the star recruit, #1 overall recruit out of high school. And asking Kirby Smart about him yesterday, he says, I don't have a real plan for when he's going to come in. I just see how the game goes. The flow of the game dictates when he comes in.
He has seen action in every game so far. Fromm is back to throw. Back to the end zone. It's caught out of bounds. Nicole Hardman was there, made the catch, but he was out of the end zone.
That was a big-time throw from Jake Fromm. Hardman, nice route, corner route to the pylon. With his right foot come down inbounds. No, that was close. Good call.
Oh, look at you. Good call. You are in a good mood today.
Now what do you do here? 3rd and 4 from the 4-yard line. Leave Fromm in. They got Godwin at the top of the screen in man-to-man coverage.
Looking left and throwing nearly the identical spot for Hardman, but had no chance on that one. DeMarcus Acey on the coverage.
And this was a miss by Jake Fromm. Normally one of his best throws is that back shoulder throw, Steve. That's what this was going to be. but it's just too high for Godwin. If that ball were 2 feet lower on the back shoulder, Godwin would have had a chance.
And Fromm is the most accurate passer in the country. His completion percentage, he came in at better than 80%. The NCAA record is 72%. Well, the SEC record is 72%. Tim Couch of Kentucky in 98. Blankenship attempting the chippy for him. This is from 21 yards on the way, and it is good. So it's a win and a loss by Missouri.
Yeah, credit their defense.
They cough up the football, but able to hold Georgia from the 5 to a field goal. 11 minutes to go here in the half. Georgia 13-7 lead. There you see what it's all about. The reason you play the game, the National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. A year ago, Georgia faced Alabama in the championship game, fell by 3 in overtime. They certainly hope to have another crack at bringing that trophy to Athens this season. What a championship game that was a year ago. That had absolutely everything for a sporting event.
We've been really spoiled the last 4 or 5 years. You know, the Alabama-Clemson games, and certainly the national championship has lived up to its billing recently.
The games have been great. I'd like to see maybe a little more variety of the teams involved.
It's Georgia's first time.
13-7. Missouri will get the football to 25, but first here's Adnan.
All right, Leaves, thank you very much. Updating you this time what's happening with BC and Purdue, 7-all. And early in the second quarter, David Blatt and Ron Delmore, how about that? Takes a hit, shakes it off, and he's off to the races. Boilermakers up 13-7 right now. This game is on ESPN2. And an update, Notre Dame Wake Forest on ABC, and a 4th and 1. Ian Book to Brock Wright. Book 14 of 18 for 116 and a score. Book it, Steve Levy.
More excellent action going around on this college football Saturday. So few of them. We cherish each and one, every one of them. Lock with time off the play fake. Down the sideline, trying to take a shot to Emmanuel Hall. DeAndre Baker had the coverage. Derek Dooley in this offense. I love that Dooley checked his ego at the door. He comes in, he says, you're not doing my offense, it's our offense. And he would have been foolish to come in the other way. Certainly with a great quarterback already here, an offense that is set. But he called it a merger offense, if you will.
And I think it's going to be great for Drew Lock because Derek Dooley spent the last 5 years with the Dallas Cowboys in a pro system, and he's going to bring some of those elements to Missouri's offense.
Lock throwing. Jalen Knox could not bring it down. Eric Stokes
and you think about how important that is, too. I mean, so many quarterbacks now are leaving college, going to the NFL, and they haven't had to set their protections. And I talked to Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs a few weeks ago, and he was saying the first few weeks I was just trying to figure out how to find the Mike linebacker, the middle linebacker, and identify him. So Locke getting at least this full year of training and what will be a pro-style system really helps him.
Here's 3rd and 10. And Locke was fading away with the pressure, and it falls incomplete.
Well, Todd, he did not identify that protection. He had a free runner in Richardson right off the edge. That's part of it, right? On 3rd downs, knowing how you're protected, knowing how defenses are going to blitz you. And Georgia and Kirby Smart, you had to know coming into this football game, they're not just going to let Drew Lock sit back there and pick you apart on 3rd down in particular.
3 plays on that series, 3 incompletions. Here's Corey Fatoni, his first punt. And the fair catch by Hardman. Missouri trying to deal with some of that Georgia heat. They trail here in the second quarter. Bulldog football when we come back.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by eBay. If it's happening on game day, it's happening on eBay. Get all your favorite Missouri gear for the best price with free shipping on eBay. Fill your cart with color.
Some places you knock off number 1, they tear down the goalposts. Here they don't even tear them down, then they carry them out to Harpo's Tavern. It's 17 blocks away from here. Now Harpo's, they don't let them bring the goalposts in.
Yeah, what do they do with them?
They cut up the goalposts for souvenirs. This is a tradition that started back in the 70s. I believe my SportsCenter colleague John Anderson was involved with the first bringing of the goalposts, the Harpos in the 70s.
You think he was carrying it?
Yeah, he's strong. Track and field guy. John Anderson. Batted down and falls harmlessly away. Walter Palmore, the senior from Columbus, knocking it down.
This defensive front for Missouri is under a lot of pressure in this game. Palmore gets his hands up, bats that football away. Terry Beckner is kind of the bell cow. He's the captain of that defensive line up front. 6'4", 300 pounds. He was a former number 2 overall recruit out of high school. But they've added some pieces up front. Not quite at the level they were when they won the SEC a couple years back, but they're getting there.
On the ground, a Holyfield. He's out beyond the 35. Fromm is just 3 for 9 passing so far. And this is the most accurate passer in the country. He's gotten off to a slow start here. There is a flag down.
Holding, number 66, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
Kinley's having a rough first half. Had the personal foul and then flagged there for holding.
Yeah, we're saying his name quite a bit, which normally isn't a good thing for an offensive lineman, but just watching him on tape, Steve, he's one of my favorite players on the offensive line. He's big, physical, 335 pounds. He's a great pass protector as well. So people think of a man that size, just come off road grader in the run game, but he's got great feet in the pass pro as well.
Second down and 20 after the marker. I'd like a close-up of Isaiah Wilson next opportunity, Schwabi. Here's Fromm to throw. This one is complete to Riley Ridley, the younger brother of Calvin. He makes the grab. It's a gain of 16. We'll bring up a third down and short. Talking about those offensive lines. Here's my man from Brooklyn, New York, 6'7", 340. How do you like me now?
And he doesn't look fat. Like most offensive linemen at 340 look like they have a little pudge around the waist, but not that young man.
I think he came in a little closer to 400 when he first showed up, but a few of those Georgia summers will knock some of those LBs off you.
Did he have an accent? Did you talk to him?
3rd and 4. I understand not the accent. Maybe the Georgia people have the accent. Depends how you look at it. It's Holyfield on the quick pass down the sideline, and he's knocked out. Finally knocked out by Cal Garrett, but not until they get the big gain of 24.
And this is a big progression for number 11, right? From last year as a freshman playing. Watch him go through all of his reads. He looks left, then he wants the tight end, then he wants the base across behind it. He gets to his 4th receiver, and that's progression for Jake Fromm. A true freshman, very difficult to do that. In your second year, they're expecting him to.
Holyfield, the ball carrier. He'll come out. Swift will check back in. Again, they can rotate. They've used 4 running backs carrying the football already, Georgia has. Keeping everybody fresh. Rushing yards all even. 3 receivers on 2nd and 6. That's Naughton in motion. On the ground, DeAndre Swift, nothing doing there. It's Terry Beckner, the best player on the Missouri defense.
That's a great adjustment from Missouri. He's going to loop around. They know that Georgia likes to run the ball to the tight end on the outside. And so what do? Just a little stunt with the defensive line to get Beckner wrapped around towards the tight end, and he's in great position on the back.
Ryan Walters, defense coordinator, said the defense, it all starts with Terry Beckner. And he makes the stop there. 3rd and 6. Feels like a big play here. 8 minutes to go in the half.
Man-to-man coverage.
Just get the snap off in time. And Swift is upended. He was stopped in the backfield by Cam Hilton, who came up to make the stop, and it's 4th down.
You got to throw the football in that situation. 3rd and 6, and you know you have man-to-man coverage. You're going to have 8 or 9 guys in the line of scrimmage, and you're going to see Hilton come from the linebacker depth. That's a safety at linebacker depth. You can't run the football into that look.
This would be a long field goal. 3rd field goal attempt in the last 3 possessions. This will go from 49 for Rodrigo Blankenship. On the way, and it is no good. No good. Just the 8th missed field goal for Blankenship. 6 of the 8 beyond 40. It stays 13-7. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week, with Georgia up by 6 over Missouri here in Columbia. Steve Levy, Brian Reese, and Todd McShay. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us. 3-0 Missouri, 3-0 Georgia. Tigers came in red hot. They have won their last 9 straight regular season games, and they are blowing people out, winning by an average margin of 27 points per game. Scored 40 just about every single time out. And they are up against it today and will be tested.
Number 30.
Here's Roundtree, the ball carrier, for a short gain.
For them to be only down 6 points in this game with the 2 turnovers that they've had, you see it's a credit to their defense, because they have held Georgia offensively out of the end zone. The only touchdown for Georgia coming on that fumble return by Campbell.
Roundtree on the ground again. There's a flag down. It's a loss on the play. Ledbetter was there.
Holding, number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
We talked a little bit coming into this game about this Georgia defensive front 7. They lost all 4 linebackers. Obviously, the star of that group, Roquan Smith, but also Lorenzo Carter and Davin Bellamy on the outside. And so they've had to replace a lot of talent. But maybe most importantly, Steve, they had to replace John Atkins, the nose guard, which in Kirby Smart's defense plays that zero nose, which zero means he's right head up over the center. And so they're trying to find the replacement. Julian Rochester, Michael Barnett, all cycling in there. But that's an important part of this defensive front.
Here's Locke. Has plenty of time. Shallow cross underneath the Roundtree out of the backfield. J.R. Reed made the stop.
Everybody wanted to talk about Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, but I think my biggest question with this Georgia team is these defensive starters that they lost from a year ago. Only returning 5 guys from a defense that gave up 16 points a game, and that was why they got to the national championship game.
Right.
So those are the questions that I think today you're going to start to answer against a really accomplished Missouri offense.
And yet we're told this defense might overall be faster, but it's so hard to replace all that NFL talent. 3rd and 15. Trying to get their first 3rd down conversion of the game. Trying to go to Nate Brown. Not that time. Eric Stokes feeling good about himself. 4th and 15.
So they're trying to throw the back shoulder throw. Drew Lock puts this on a dime, Todd.
It's a really nice throw, and did a good job there reading the coverage and knew what he wanted to do. The problem they're having is that their best receiver, Emmanuel Hall, has been just taken out of this game by DeAndre Baker. He's following him from left to right all over the field, and he shut him down.
Punt is blocked, and it's scooped up and scored. It's Eric Stokes, the redshirt freshman, on the touchdown. Special teams by Georgia.
So many ways for Georgia to affect the outcome of this game. They've scored a defensive touchdown, and now Stokes comes off the edge unblocked. Nobody accounts for him. That's number 39. That's Chris Turner, a defensive lineman, didn't even pop out to get a hand on Stokes, and that was the easiest punt block you'll ever see. Breakdown and protection.
The one thing Missouri could not do today was turn the football over and struggle on special teams. They've done all that and then some. You mentioned the defensive touchdown. Now the blocked punt for the score. Georgia starting to roll here in Columbia.
Welcome back to Columbia. I don't know a whole lot about punt protection, Steve, but I know you got 3 guys here, and you got 3 guys coming here, and 3 guys, all of which are unblocked. That's 6 on 3. I'm pretty sure that's not going to end up well. I think there was a breakdown, certainly in protection on the right side of that punt pro from Missouri, and it cost them 7 points.
Breakdown. You are being kind again. Any one of 6 players could have blocked that punt. Wow. So Georgia's 2 touchdowns. Campbell has the 69-yard fumble return for the score, and then Stokes' 8-yard score off the returned block punt. You get the sense Missouri needs to do something on this drive on offense to stop this game from getting away from them. Here's Adnan.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. An update once again, this time on Notre Dame and Wake Forest over on ABC. It's Matt Colburn, the 2-yard rushing touchdown. So Wake Forest making a little noise. Down 8 right now. Once again, it's on ABC, under 6 to go. And some trickeration. Kent State, Ole Miss. It's a wide receiver screen. Cadius Price to Joel Shaw. 7-all right now on the SEC network. Steve?
We all need some more trickeration in our lives, Adnan. You agree Missouri's got to do something on this drive? Games sort of feel like it can get away from them.
Well, it's just been the mistakes. Yeah, I think they've done well offensively. They can't get away from running the football, though, Steve. You can't panic here. It's 13-point game. Plenty of time here. If you get something on the board before halftime, make this a tight game.
That's Demarie Crockett, the ball carrier.
Well, that's Brenton Cox, the outside linebacker. True freshman from Stockbridge, Georgia. They are really excited about him. Very highly touted out of high school.
And while they work on him, I'll show you some of the mistakes Missouri's made so far in this game.
Well, it started with Albert O, and I think this was kind of a fortunate situation for Georgia that the whistle wasn't blown and stopped forward progress. Some missed field goals. Obviously, this was Johnson all on the receiver. And then the block punt. I mean, you play a number 2 team in the country, and you have 3 major turnovers like that, and to only be down 13, they're really fortunate.
Well, 2 years ago here in Columbia against Georgia, Mizzou had them right where they wanted until the very end. 5 turnovers really cost them. And they fumbled really to end the game at midfield. That was 2 years ago. Cox able to walk off, but gingerly while we were away. Time now for today's Aflac Trivia question. The first game at Faurot Field was played in 1926 against Tulane. What was the field surface?
What?
Yeah. Well, they didn't have AstroTurf back then, right?
What kind of question is that?
What do you think I come up with the questions?
Sometimes I do, actually.
Well, not this week.
I'm going to go with dirt.
Dirt's a good guess. 2nd down and 5. Here's Locke to throw. On the run. And he'll just throw that away. Bring up a 3rd down and 5.
I think Walter Grant, the outside linebacker, got away with a holding call in the end of line of scrimmage. They're trying to get the ball on a screen, and he just held the receiver.
Maybe he didn't get away with it.
Holding, number 84, defense. Holding an eligible receiver to a forward pass play that cost the line. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, that was a pretty clear call. I want Walter Grant trying to get the ball on the down flat there, and he just grabs Brown. We're expecting Walter Grant, expecting big things from him. You know, he's wearing that number that Leonard Floyd wore at that outside linebacker position, but they need him to step up, especially if Brenton Cox is not able to come back in this football game.
Whistles, another flag. A lengthy conversation.
You don't see many conversations without the head official in the conversation.
It's like they're talking about
you
it.
Figure it out and then bring it to me.
I'm the head honcho here.
I like that.
Mark Curl's the referee. I'll take it from here.
Number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
It's Paul Adams, the 2-time captain. Today's Aflac Trivia question. The first game played here, 1926 against Tulane. What was the field surface? The answer? How about sawdust and tree bark? So you were way off, Grease. Massive rainstorms meant the field could not be sodded in time, so a combination of sawdust and tree bark was laid down in front of a sold-out crowd. You know what the score was? Scoreless. Zoo and Tulane, scoreless. A scoreless tie.
Oh, those are the kind of answers that make me think that you're involved in the athletic.
Again, not this week. Other weeks.
Sawdust feels better than those rocks, I
Right.
can tell you that.
When you're a senior, you get to take one of those rocks with you. Again, they've sold out the building today for number 2 Georgia in town. It's the biggest home game for the Tigers in Columbia in anybody's guess, 3, 4, 5 years, something along those lines. No one could be definitive about that. It's Beatty, the true freshman, out of the backfield. Adnan, take it away.
Sitting on rocks, that's a tough sell, Leaves, but I got some here for you involving Notre Dame. Ian Book, after a pass to Michael Young for 66 yards, gets his first career rushing touchdown. 28-13 Irish on ABC.
Right, Adnan, 3rd down and 7. Drew Lock started hot, and he has slowed down an awful lot, much like this Missouri offense. And again, they have yet to convert a first down here today. 4 minutes to go. 3rd and 7. Lock's got all sorts of time. Underneath, waiting for it to develop, and it is his tight end, and it is first down yardage. Okui-Bunam on the receiving end.
Yeah, they got to get Okui-Bunam into this football game. That plenty of time up front. This offensive line flush pickup on the blitz, and if you pick up a blitz, should be some receivers open downfield, and they're work.
5th reception of the game for Albert O.
That's a big time conversion there. You get into plus territory. You get some confidence in picking up the blitz. And now Drew Lock, be aggressive, take a shot downfield.
Oh, look at you, take a shot, really. On the ground. It's Beatty. Back to the line of scrimmage. Swarmed by that Georgia defense led by Tyler Clark.
In this game a year ago, Drew Lock was very aggressive throwing the ball down the field. And I know he'd like to do the same thing here. Problem is that his receiver, Emmanuel Hall, as we've talked about through the course of this first half, just doesn't have the explosion and the burst to threaten DeAndre Baker downfield.
2nd down and 10, just across midfield. Trailing by 13. Quick throw. Out into the flat, it's Nate Brown on the receiving end.
Locke does a good job there on the run pass option, the RPO. He sees the defender coming off the edge. He gets rid of the ball right away. Kind of baited him to. The corner was showing blitz, then he backed off, and then he came in the last second.
It's got to be Drew Lock's game, Todd. He's got to step up, right? I know that your best receiver is hobbled a little bit, but there's no excuses, right? We talked about how big a game this is, and the closing window for him as a senior in this program, these are the kind of wins you got to get.
3rd and 4, hit as he throws, and the ball is out. Georgia thinks the turnover, and it's an incomplete pass. Julian Rochester came right up the middle and put the pressure on Drew Lock. 4th down.
It's only going to take a matter of time before Kirby Smart comes up with some kind of a pressure. Here's Rochester right here, but they're going to bring this pressure, and he's going to wrap around and get to the quarterback in Lock. Kirby Smart is too good of a defensive coach. After you get through the first couple of series, he's going to see your protection, how you're deciding to block them, and he's going to dial up something to get pressure on the quarterback.
See, they're going to take a look at this. They're going to review that last play.
Take a look to see if this ball was coming forward, a fumble or a pass. Oh, and they should take a look at that, because Walker comes around and gets a hand on the football, and it looks like the hand of Locke, right, lost control of that football. And if that be the case, it would be a fumble.
Georgia clearly recovered.
This is that open hand conversation, right? If that arm's coming forward, which it was, but if it's an open hand without the football,
right,
that means it's a fumble.
Great replays from our truck. That's what the officials will look at. DeAndre Walker's a guy who's been really patient. Played 41 games before finally getting a start, because they've been so strong on defense.
And that's important there. You see DeAndre Baker recovers that football. You have to have clear and immediate recovery by the defense. for this to be a change of possession.
That ball's loose. That has to be a fumble.
Boy, and it would be the 4th turnover from Missouri in the first half.
After further review, the quarterback did not have control of the ball when it went forward. Therefore, it's a fumble. Recovered by Georgia. First down.
And Mizzou's turnover problems continue to plague them here today. Adnan Burke, back in our studio.
Steve, coming up on the Lexus halftime report, the Wolverines rolling right now against Nebraska, having no issues against the Cornhuskers. Also, the Irish quarterback controversy, perhaps, because Ian Book has looked great so far today instead of Brandon Wimbush. And while you were sleeping, updating you on the games from last night in the Pac-12. Steve, back to you.
All right, Adnan, looking forward to seeing you guys at halftime. Hey, Georgia was going to get the football either way, but they get it with much better field position out at their own 45. DeAndre Swift right up the middle and into Missouri territory. Bring up a 2nd and short.
You're going to see a little up-tempo here from Georgia and Jim Chaney, their offensive coordinator.
Quick pass, able to connect to Hardman. He'll get out of bounds. Bulldogs do have all 3 timeouts.
This is one of those points in the game where the offense, the coordinator, Kirby Smart all sense an opportunity to put this game away. They do not want this to go to halftime as a 13-point game. They have a chance here to go up-tempo, run the football, put a touchdown on the board, and really seal this thing early.
Overshot Nicole Hardman, who does have elite speed. Not fast enough there.
And that's the right call. It was an aggressive call. You got man-to-man coverage. You had the inside receiver on a fade, and Hardman just didn't get a whole lot of separation. If that ball was a little bit less overthrown, could have been a touchdown. I love Kirby's passion on the sideline. I mean, it doesn't matter, offense, defense. He's always talking, always moving, always signaling something.
From the throw, trying to go to the inside slant. Akil Crumpton was the intended target. Joshua Bledsoe had the coverage. 3rd down.
Yeah, we mentioned Bledsoe a couple times in this first half. He's been up to the task. Crumpton had a chance. You can't let that ball come into your body. Extend your hands, you'll make that catch. And once again, Missouri's defense with an opportunity to stand up here after a sudden change situation and get a stop.
Big play time here at the Zoo.
Pressure look, all linebackers up. Will they drop 8?
Put it on the ground, DeAndre Swift.
Number 7.
Georgia trying to cross everyone up on 3rd and long. Adam Sparks made the stop from his corner position.
It was a great play by Sparks there. He saw the run, came flying over and made the play. If he wasn't there, that would easily have been a first down, it looked like, from field level.
I think they're going to go for it.
4th and 6 is part of the field. Minute 5 to go in the half. And Missouri will take a timeout.
Second charge timeout, Missouri. 30-second timeout.
So these teams have played close games before. In that Georgia-Missouri game, the last time they met here 2 years ago, that was a 1-point game, and the critical part of that was 5 turnovers by the home team. And here today, it's 3 turnovers, a block punt for a score. We're somewhat fortunate to even be in this game at this point.
I mean, it's been a pretty even game from offensive and defensive line standpoint, which, in the SEC, that's what you look at first. It's just been the turnovers, as you mentioned. So if somehow, some way, Missouri is able to get a stop here, there's still enough time on the clock with some timeouts to make this a 10-point game or maybe even a 7-point game. So the fact that Missouri is still in it, I think, is really fortunate for them.
Odom and Smart debuted in the SEC in that game 2 years ago here, going head-to-head. They're both in their 3rd season. And Missouri's looking to break through, right? Take the next step for this program. And Georgia's trying to get back to where they were 1 year ago, the championship game.
Well, we mentioned that window of opportunity closing for Barry Odom is because of Drew Lock in his senior year.
Going on 4th 4th and 6. And the whistles come in. Trey Williams looked like he was just a bit too anxious.
Offside, 93 defense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
It was 4th and 6.
Which changes this whole complexion of this down, right? I mean, you have to throw the football. Missouri was going to bring an all-out blitz and pressure. Now, Georgia's in their sweet spot. They're going to bring in as much beef as they possibly can and run the ball down your throat.
Reset the game clock to 104. 104 on the game clock, please.
Looks like Georgia will bring in 8 offensive linemen.
I've never seen anything like this.
I mean, there's all offensive linemen and 1 tight end and an offensive lineman in the backfield.
On the ground, it's Brian Harry, and Terry Beckner came up to make the stop. They'll turn it over on downs. We'll go the other way.
Give credit to Terez Hall, the senior captain, outside linebacker. There he is right here. He's just going to come right around and knife in. Great recognition. Comes up with a huge play for this defense.
So, Grease, they're obviously trying to go for the jugular there, but that's a 48-yard field goal attempt. You could have tacked on a field goal there, an easy 3 for Blankenship.
I think from a psychological standpoint, if you're Kirby Smarter, you make the decision to go for it on 4th and 6, and then you get 4th and 1. Psychologically, it's hard to bring the field goal team out. You say, hey, man, I got one of the 3 biggest offensive lines in college football. Let's just go for it.
And you have the 3 timeouts, and you figure you march down the field and score a touchdown. I get it. See if that backfires. Here's Locke to throw. And that's knocked away. Missouri has just 1 timeout left. 55 seconds left in the half.
Well, if I'm Drew Lock, I am fired up right now. I am going to get into the rear end of this offense, of these skill position players. They have not helped him in this football game. Alberto just dropped another one. He fumbled earlier.
Yep.
Johnson, interception return for a touchdown. You have to lead from that quarterback position.
Lock under pressure, hit as he throws. That ball comes out. And we'll see who falls on top. DeAndre Walker knocked it out again. Walker's always around the football.
Great job by Kevin Pendleton. He's the left guard and jumped on that football because you're right. I don't know if this was a fumble or a pass. Let's look. DeAndre Walker, back-to-back series where he's put pressure on the quarterback. Same exact play. Yeah, that's a fumble. And watch Pendleton. Pendleton, the left guard, comes in and saves the possession.
It looked like from down here that they thought it was a punt almost. They were looking at the ball, the Georgia defenders, and didn't go after it.
Guys, the clock is running out right now. We're down to 8 seconds left till halftime.
Because it wasn't an incomplete pass.
Right. And now we get whistles.
Delay a game.
Delay of game. Number 3, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And I think Barry Odom was just content to let the time run out of his half.
He was telling them to just run the clock down.
Georgia still has, they'll take 3 timeouts with them to the locker room. If they wanted to give you some time to look at that.
Foul that stops the clock with under 1 minute and the game clock running. It's a 10-second runoff. That is into the 2nd period.
In the final minute, we get the runoff. 20-7, Georgia on top. Send you back to Adnan, Joey, and Jim Mora in the studio. Starting at 3-0 as we take a look at today's hardest work over Missouri. Both teams starting at 3-0 as we take a look at today's hardest working player. Brought to you by Duluth Trading Company.
Yes, DeAndre Walker, the outside linebacker, the senior, who has affected this game in the first half. 2 times he got to Drew Lock around Paul Adams, the right tackle, and 2 fumbles, one of which was recovered by Georgia and DeAndre Baker. Another, this one, which was not recovered but stalled this drive. So DeAndre Walker, who a lot of people had questions about, played a bunch a year ago, Steve, but had to replace Lorenzo Carter and Davin Bellamy. And you see Georgia offensively has not been good enough in the first half. And I think that's why Kirby Smart was a little upset coming off the field. Only 6 points to show from that offense in the first half.
Opportunistic defense, though, has them in this excellent position. Tyler Beatty from the 5. Able to get out ahead the far side. And he'll be run out of bounds at about the 38. Rare that Rodrigo Blankenship does not have a touchback. It's a 35-yard return by Beatty. As we welcome you back, Steve Levy along with Brian Greasy. Todd McShay will join us shortly as well. We'll give some barbecue sauce right here. Hey, so, I mean, Jake Fromm, the most accurate passer in the nation, 80%. He's under 50% today, and they're still leading 20%.
Well, let's be honest. 80%, you know, when you do that, there's a lot of bubble screens, and that's been okay. So let's not get out of control with that, all right?
5-yard passes,
but certainly they have to play better offensively to win this football game on the road. They've got that block punt, they've got the turnovers, but they haven't been able to run the ball as efficiently as we're used to Georgia running the football.
Missouri will start the second half with the football. Drew Lock to throw, and he'll throw it out of bounds. Locke started out hot in this game, and then he cooled off as well. Locke does tend to throw the football further down the field than Fromm does. You're right about all those short passes to get to that 80%.
This is a big drive for Missouri. Obviously, they did not play well in the first half, but they're only down 13 points, and they have to come out here and see if Drew Lock gets into these receivers and motivates these guys to make more plays.
Locke is just 4 for his last 12. Puts it on the ground to Larry Roundtree there. Roundtree goes by the nickname Trey because he's the third, not Tree because of the end of his last name. 3rd down and 9. And here's the early opportunity. Missouri chance to get their crowd back in this game. Set it up for Roundtree, and he loses the football, and it will go as an incomplete pass.
And that's what I'm talking about. These receivers, running backs, tight ends, everybody on Missouri's offense has put the ball on the ground. This is well set up. It's just a screen right here, and watch this big opening with 2 offensive linemen ready to block downfield. It's the perfect play call. And there it is right there. You're going to have a play, and you drop the football. Self-inflicted wounds for Missouri in this game.
Fatoni off the high snap. Hardman is back, and he buffs it. It's the muff, and Hardman's able to pick it up himself and is tripped up as he crossed the 40-yard line. That's the kind of day it's been for Georgia so far. They muff the punt and recover it for a big gain.
Boy. You know, Miko Hardman is one of the most electric punt returners in the country. He's taken the ball back to the house a couple times and almost there. One step out of one tackle, and that would have been turned tragedy into triumph in the end zone.
Had a 70-yard punt return a week ago. For a score, that's a 23-yard return after the 46-yard punt. Great starting field position for Fromm and Georgia. Short gain to Riley Ridley.
Based on the way that Kirby Smart walked off the field and talked with Todd McShay, I imagine the locker room was kind of heated, and I expect fully this offense to get back to basics, which is coming off the football and running between the tackles.
We showed you the possessions for Georgia. Interception, punt, couple of field goals, missed field goal, turn it over on downs. They've had some good field position to work with, like they have here. Fromm's able to sneak that one in to Ridley, and he has first down yardage.
Kirby Smart was saying, basically laying into a couple of his players, and I think part of it had to do with the fact that they didn't get on that ball when it was fumbled, and they had the opportunity to, and they let the offensive lineman from Missouri get it, and he was screaming, "We just gave them a field goal. We just gave them a field goal," basically because he thought that they could have kicked the field goal in that situation. So he was hot. He actually composed himself for television, but right before that, it wasn't the same dude.
But you handled it beautifully, Todd.
Thanks, buddy.
Here's Swift on the ground, able to bounce it to the outside. And all of that winds up in a big gain on first down. 2nd and short.
Boy, and that run right in front of Kirby Smart, you could see him pumping his fist. That's exactly what he wanted to see from DeAndre Swift. Pushing the pile, never gives up on the run, keeps churning those legs. And with that kind of a cut, the vision to cut back, and then that shallow cut, and then the power, that's the whole package in one run.
Swift, the sophomore from Philadelphia. 2nd and 3. Give it to Swift, able to get outside for the first down yardage. Inside the 35, it's a gain of 8. Missouri's kind of been a bit of a bully, Grease. Last year they were 7-0 against losing teams. When faced with the prospects going up against winning teams, they were 0-6. So here's an opportunity to play one of the big boys in your place. It's not coming out well so far for them.
Well, this is not how you beat one of the big boys, turn the football over the way that they have. But all that being said, they're still in this football game, so can they find their composure, make a few plays on offense, and get back in this game?
Off the play fake, Faurot to throw. And leaping up for it is Ridley for the score. Touchdown, 33 yards. Jake Fromm to Riley Ridley. Put it where the defender could not get it.
And that's a gamble from Adam Sparks, the sophomore from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the corner. You see play action here. It's just a corner route, but Sparks tries to go underneath right there to get the football for the interception, and that's a gamble that you don't need to take as a corner. If you're beat that badly, just make sure you make the tackle. Ends up in a touchdown.
Blankenship boots through the extra point. Well, that escalated quickly.
And all that starts with the run game, right? They come out, establish a run game with DeAndre Swift, and then the play action is deadly offense.
Georgia has scored touchdowns on offense, defense, and special teams.
They gonna talk about me. Just wait and see. Wait and see. They gonna talk about me. I'm gonna be very.
Extra Yard for Teachers Week is a week-long celebration of teachers led by the College Football Playoff Foundation. Visit the College Football Playoff Foundation website, www.cfp-foundation.org, to learn how you get involved. Don't hand Barry Odom a ruler right now. Like, smack somebody's hands. The former teacher and current head coach here at Mizzou.
It was great talking with him about his mom, who was a teacher and a principal. She was a kindergarten teacher, and he said, I had 2 brothers, and my mom had that salary of $30,000. We never, we always had new cleats and books and meals, and he didn't know how she did it. A lot of respect for the teachers in this country.
Bouncing, and my favorite line was, as Odom said, that teachers are the backbone of our society. That's a powerful statement. Right? That's dead on.
Absolutely.
That's right on. But my other favorite part is when he said, well, okay, what did you teach? And he sheepishly, I'm waiting for algebra, biology, physical education. But he was good at it.
Yeah, he taught the heck out of it, right? The other thing that was interesting, he said, he worked in the Indian education department. So he'd work with Native Americans and help them apply for aid and grants. And he got a real appreciation for the struggle that culture goes through to get educated. So a very interesting conversation with him.
First down and 10. Again, this is Missouri's second opportunity with the football here in the third quarter. There's Drew Lock to pass. They really have to throw now to get back in this game. And Lock will take a bump, stays in bounds. Right by the mark. Hey, last thought on the teaching aspect. There's this great American Express commercial, Grease. Yeah. Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame. He's uber talented. And he has a line in there. He says, don't assume the substitute teacher has nothing to offer. Yeah. Because he was a substitute teacher, which is pretty neat to know. But
had a few things to offer of his own.
Yes. Look where he wound up. On Broadway and then some. Lots to offer. All teachers. We owe a debt of gratitude to all of them. Jonathan Johnson able to hang on to that one. That was one of the big plays of the first half. Johnson had a catch, could have been a conversion. Came right out of his hands and led to an interception the other way.
That's the first time you've heard his name, and it's probably not by accident.
15 yards on that reception. This is Nate Brown. As we see some of the Missouri quick passing game, that's a first down.
Yeah, and this is desperation here for Missouri and for Derek Dooley. This is not the way that they wanted to be running their offense, but they have no choice but to go up tempo and throw the ball on virtually every down.
On the ground, it's Crockett. Approaching the 30.
So Georgia still able to get mass substitutions, even though Missouri is going up tempo. Kirby Smart has always loved to play 22 players on defense. He will sub every player on that side of the ball in and out the course of the game.
Crockett trying to read it, and he leans across the line to gain line for a first down.
Well, we talked a lot about Emmanuel Hall, the big play wide receiver from Missouri. He just limped off the field, was off the field for a couple plays. He's back in now, but again, he's really not effective today.
Todd, he doesn't have a catch today. He's been targeted one time, and that was on the fade route that went out of bounds. But
and almost at this point, Brian, it might be addition by subtraction if he comes off the field. Half the plays he's barely even running a route.
Yeah. Well, he's hurt. I mean, he's their best player. He has been their best player for a long time. But when you're hurt, sometimes you need the coach to take you out and say, listen, you're not helping the team.
2nd and 9, back on the ground to Crockett. They'll push the pile for a few. And the other thing about Emmanuel Hall, the coaching staff knows this as well. Hey, so how hurt is he, and can he do more damage? You know, we're down 20 to number 2 in the country. Are we better off saving him for the rest of the SEC grind and not lose him for the season?
I would take him out. I would take him out and let him rest. And that injury is not going to get better by playing.
Because the decoy charade is over. Yeah. Everybody knows. 3rd and 5. DeAndre Baker still paying attention to him, top of your screen. Locke looking middle of the field. Jonathan Johnson, first down yardage. Here come the Tigers now. Down to the 11, it's a gain of 12. Locke to throw, knocked aside. Richard LeCount able to knock that one aside. They've got 5 first downs on this possession for Missouri, and by far their best drive of the day. Can get a first down still. The play fake to the end zone. Johnson's looking for a flag on J.R. Reed. And I don't see any dirty laundry on the field.
That's a great job by J.R. Reed. We haven't mentioned his name a lot today, but he's the unquestioned leader in this secondary. Makes all the calls back there. He's the hitter, is more vocal. Very valuable piece of this defense for Kirby Smart. And with all the losses that they had from a year ago up front, J.R. Reed and DeAndre Baker are the stalwarts in the secondary.
Kirby's still into this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's 3rd and 10. Locke feels the pressure. And he'll skip it off the turf. And there's a penalty. Check the marker. See if Tyler Clark was a little too aggressive on Drew Locke.
And you see Kirby saying, why? Tyler, why?
Reading his case.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 13 defense. Half the distance to the goal from the previous spot, first down.
13 is Jonathan Ledbetter. Look at Kirby. He's hopping mad.
Levy, when the flag came out, he jumped to the ground and was completely face down in the grass.
And I understand why he's upset. That's a bad call. You touch a guy with your hand on the chest, and I get it, the ball's gone, but that is not a penalty.
Saying maybe the Locke added to that? With the reaction?
Shouldn't be called.
1st and goal now. On the ground, it's Crockett standing up into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers.
6-yard run, number 16.
If I'm a defender for Georgia, I don't know I want to go over to that sideline and see Kirby Smart. He's running after Clark and Ledbetter. He's like, listen, I didn't touch him. And I don't disagree with Clark. Neither one of those guys had a personal foul on Drew Lock, but if you're Kirby Smart, you're just trying to tell him, listen, don't even make it a marginal call. Don't touch the guy.
Saw some coaching right there. It's not always about X's and O's.
Yeah.
Kirby's still coaching up Tyler Clark. Take a look. Little shot to the chest. Jonathan Ledbetter drew the flag. Touchdown, Tigers.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dickies Flex. Superior comfort guaranteed. Learn more at dickies.com. And Pizza Hut, official pizza of college football. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
In the Power 5, only 12 former players are current head coaches for their alma mater, including Barry Odom and Kirby Smart, who was coaching all through that commercial break.
Still passionate as a coach, just as much as he was as a player.
And Georgia's going to bring it out of the end zone with Mecole Hardman down the sideline. And he is upended shy of the 35. Here's Ad Inberg.
All right, Steve Levy, a couple updates here for you. I want to let you know what's happening with Nebraska and Michigan. It's all Wolverines. Donovan Peoples-Jones here, the 60-yard return. At last check, Michigan had 26 more points than Nebraska had yards. That would be 20 for the Cornhuskers. 46-0 as the route is on in Ann Arbor. Plus, Notre Dame and Wake Forest. This game is over on ABC. In fact, I'll just let you know Notre Dame's still leading. Leaves back to you.
Thank you. Keep us posted as we get into the winning hour in this early window. College football Saturday. 7:44 to go here in the third quarter. Hardman, the wide receiver. He'll take the football on the rush.
See if this Georgia offense can take back control of this game. You know, that certainly they didn't go their way with that call, and they give up the touchdown. But Georgia, now up 13 only, has a chance offensively to take back control, running the football with their physical offensive line up front.
Second down and 5. Clap and go down the sideline. Back shoulder to Jeremiah Holloman. Holloman down the sideline, and that's how you respond by Georgia. Wow, was that quick for 61 yards and the score.
Wow, what a throw and catch. DeMarcus Acey was in good position. This ball thrown right behind the shoulder, perfectly executed by Fromm. And watch Holloman stay in bounds. Clearly stayed in bounds. That's just poor tackling by Acey. And a huge response from Georgia offensively. See if he dropped that football, Steve.
Could this be another premature celebration?
Oh my. After what DeAndre Baker did against South Carolina, the fact that Holloman even close to drop that football close to the end zone is unbelievable.
If you look to the right corner of the end zone,
The ruling on the field of touchdown is under further review.
Christian Holmes is standing all by himself with the football in the end zone.
Again, the ruling on the field is a touchdown. It's hard from that angle to have enough indisputable video evidence to overturn that. Take a look at this one. And that field judge is right there. That one certainly looks like it could have been short. But again, I mean, if we're saying we think it might be, it has to be indisputable evidence to overturn that call. And I'm not so sure that the judgment call by the official in the replay booth is going to overturn that.
So Georgia was celebrating in the end zone to our left, and Christian Holmes picked up the football. It's still in his hands and ran the length of the field all by himself, and only now has emerged from the end zone to our right. You know what, Grease? Even if this stands, these college kids, why take the chance?
I don't understand it. I mean,
what are we doing?
I mean, Kirby Smart's got to be outside of his skull right now. The fact that he's had 2 players in a matter of 2-3 weeks do the same exact thing, because he addressed it with the whole team when DeAndre Baker did it against South Carolina.
I get it. You're excited. You're a college kid. It's a big play. It's a big touchdown. Take another beat. Take one more step to make sure you've crossed the goal line.
And again, it's important what you said, that Holmes recovered that football, because if they do rule that he dropped that football before he reached across the plane of the goal line, then it needs to be an immediate recovery by a Missouri defender and a clear recovery by Holmes. But from that angle, I'm not sure that you have enough inconclusive evidence to overturn it.
Hollowman is a sophomore from Covington, Georgia.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Yeah.
So Kirby gets it both ways. He's going to be able to teach another valuable lesson, and he gets the touchdown to count.
I think he's gone beyond the teaching part of it at this point. That conversation might last a while on Sunday morning in the meeting room. Solomon takes a deep breath.
He's a lucky man. Good on Christian Holmes to be paying attention. Going to go for 2, up 33-14. Ball motions everyone to his left bottom of your screen. Quick throw to Harrigan, and he won't get there. Knocked out of bounds, he fumbled. And that will keep the score at 33-14. Talked about 2 weeks ago, the game against South Carolina on September the 8th. This is DeAndre Baker intercepting a ball and celebrating, dropping the football prior to crossing the goal line. Jawan Taylor, the linebacker, picked it up. He had no idea he scored a touchdown. And the Hollow Man right there, that's just way too close, and he's lucky. He's going to hear about it anyway, but imagine if it went the other way.
He's really fortunate we don't have the pylon cam here today.
That's a good point.
Really fortunate. Because it looked like the ball came out of his hand before he crossed that plane, and then his momentum carried the ball into the end zone where it landed. But not enough evidence. That's why you heard the stands call instead of confirmed.
And if we thought Kirby was going off on his defensive lineman and that, roughing of the quarterback there, wow. He's going to have something to talk about this week.
It was a great play by Holloman, too.
Yes,
It was an unbelievable catch and staying in bounds.
Perfect throw also. And an answer to that last Missouri touchdown. Here's Adnan Virk.
All right, Leaves, as promised, an update on Notre Dame and Wake Forest over on ABC. For first off, Kent State Ole Miss. We want to show you this great play, the trickeration of the wide receiver. So good to see this. Always fun. Well, it's 7-all right now. That's on SEC Network. And BC and Purdue, red zone pick here. Anthony Brown, that's Antonio Blackman. 30-7 Purdue right now. It's on ESPN2. How about that Boilermakers, Leaves?
Yep. Well, Dad will be happy about that.
Well, what a response by Purdue after losing last week to this Missouri team 40-37 in heartbreaking fashion to come out and beat that very good BC team. That's impressive.
Got to pour some cold water on what the Eagles have been doing to start. And it's Crockett trying to break through. So it's my kind of start to the half. We've had 3 offensive touchdowns in the first 8 minutes of the second half. Think about we had 1 offensive touchdown in the first half all by itself. Another chance for Missouri to answer. Keep it on the ground to Crockett. Crockett set the Mizzou freshman record, over 1,000 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns in 2016. Missed the last 7 games of last season with a shoulder injury in this very game against Georgia in Athens. 3rd and 2. That's batted down at the line. DeAndre Walker. He's got a nose and a hand for the football.
Yeah, I really like DeAndre Walker. You know, you talked about him a little bit at the beginning of the game. He played in 41 games in his career before this season, but he's become a starter. With the loss of Lorenzo Carter and Davin Bellamy, they're counting on him. He has affected this football game with 2 forced fumbles. You see the sacks, and he's got a couple of batted balls. Outstanding football player.
Walker came in with the only sack in the first 3 games by this Georgia defense. Akil Crumpton will let it bounce. And it will be down at the 7-yard line. 60-yard punt and a dandy. Monday night, Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. They're all full of drama. They'll take on Ryan Fitzmagic and the 2-0 Buccaneers in Tampa. Coverage begins Monday night countdown at 6. They're going to be simulcast in Spanish on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Did you see Ryan Fitzmagic?
That is so good. So good. I mean,
now
he looks more like Conor McGregor than Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he's not the trendsetter, though. There's been another former Buccaneers quarterback who I remember who could dress the same way. Tighten up a little chest hair a little bit, Grease, there.
That's about the only resemblance.
Where's the big chain? Starting from the 7th, and the worst starting field position of their game here.
What a season he's having, though. I mean, nobody saw the Bucs, right? And so now a decision to make when Jameis Winston is able to come back. There's no way you can take Fitzpatrick off the field.
So you got a playing decision and a contract decision for Jameis as well. Very interesting. You get an idea of where we're calling the game from. Our perch high atop the stadium here in Columbia. On 2nd down and 9. Very close to the first down marker, Elijah Holyfield.
Jake Fromm has settled down from the first half. Really didn't do a whole lot. Not a lot of production in the first half, 6 of 14. But in the second half, he's been perfect. And a lot of that has been placement of footballs down the field. A couple of back shoulder throws have led to touchdowns.
3rd and 1. Stick behind the line. Holyfield is stopped in a big way. He was rocked by Nate Anderson.
Boy, great job from Nate Anderson coming in from that defensive end position. Here he is right here. He's just going to knife in, and he's in the backfield in a hurry. That's true freshman Cade Mays, the left tackle, just not ready for the quickness of Anderson.
Anderson's a good Canadian boy from Toronto. Just the second punting opportunity for Jake Camarda from his goal line. And it's a fair catch at the 40 by Jonathan Johnson. 46-yard punt. Again, Camarda would be among the nation's leaders in punting, except Georgia doesn't punt enough. Up 33-14. You're watching the SEC on ESPN, presented by Xfinity.
Leaves, you see this clock here?
What's that for?
That's new in the SEC this year. That's the clock back from commercials. So you see the offense, and the quarterback and coach can see how long they have until the 25-second clock's going to start.
And you get
I like that.
Television producers like Josh Hoffman who maybe want to fudge a little bit on the time. Hey, buy me 5 seconds or something like that.
I actually like that, Gene.
Can't get away with those tricks, yeah. Trying to be on time all the time. Here's Missouri, trailing 33-14, under 4 to play in the 3rd. Here's Locke to complete the Jonathan Johnson, middle of the field.
Drew Lock's pass complete.
You know, it's been interesting watching Drew Lock today. The body language isn't quite what you'd expect from a senior and a leader. He's been frustrated all day long, and understandably, his receivers have dropped many passes as we've documented, but just not the fiery guy that you would expect to see from Lock.
Got 14 on that last play, and that is, let's see if that was behind the line of scrimmage. That might be a loose ball, and it is a free ball, and Georgia's got it recovering, and it's Brenton Cox. Cox, who was shaken up early, returns it all the way to the 15. The ball comes out again. We'll see if he was down. Oh, gosh, a crazy turn of events. Kevin Pendleton thinks he has the football.
First thing we need to look at, was this a forward pass or a backward pass? And I agree with the officials, if there's any question, let it go, because you can always clean it up on the back end.
Right.
So you see he steps up, trying to get the ball out to Beatty. He's on it, throwing that from about the 48-yard line. I think that's a forward pass.
Yeah, it looks forward.
Yeah.
And nearly was intercepted because it goes off Beatty and right to the defender.
You see the line judge with his arm out right there. That means he's
The previous
ruling
play
that was
is
a
under further review.
backward pass. But that's what you want that line judge to do. If there's any question, don't take the fumble out of the equation, because you want to allow the team to return it.
As you said, you can always clean it up on replay after the fact. We'll try that.
After further review, the ruling is the first pass was forward and incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 46-yard line. Reset the game clock to 3:28. 3:28 on the game clock, please.
It can be so close. It's not the feet of the quarterback. It's where the ball is released out of his hand and where it is next touched.
Yep.
It was pretty close.
I think you see that the ball's released at about the 47.5-yard line there. And it looks like it touches it about the 49. So I think that's a good call and well officiated.
And the line judge is Chris Conway, who is, his arm is extended to the left, which is signifying a backward pass. So in essence, he's wrong, but he does a good job by allowing the play to continue.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want the line judge to officiate that.
So you can be wrong and yet right at the same time. As he was. Bottom line is Missouri barely escapes a 4th turnover there. They maintain the football now, and it's 3rd down and 10. Locke coming into today's game at touchdown passes in 13 consecutive games. And he's looking at having that streak broken right now. Huseg in terms of touchdown passes, with 3.5 to play here in the 3rd. Locke to throw. Sideline, trying the back shoulder for Nate Brown. And it is a catch.
Steve, this is what gets so many people excited about Drew Lock. I mean, he's under immense pressure. Don't block the defensive end. He's in his face, and he throws a back shoulder throw to Nate Brown right on a dime.
16 yards on that last completion. And it's Beatty, the true freshman from Memphis, staying on his feet for more 1st down yardage.
To Todd's point earlier, there's a lot of scouts here today, and they're going to evaluate this tape. If I'm a scout, I'm looking at the second half of this game with Drew Lock. How does he respond to this adversity?
Locke will throw that one away. Locke was on the Paul Feinbaum show this week, and he said getting Georgia here, it's a big-time SEC game. It's something Columbia needs. So he understands what the program is trying to do. He set a lot of the records here. Will set a few more records, approaching 10,000 yards on his career as well. Something only 10 SEC quarterbacks have done. So he has been outstanding for this program, and we expect to see him, as Todd mentioned in the open, at the next level. Playing on Sundays, the old league. Here's Locke to throw. Steps up and fires. Able to complete for Jonathan Johnson. Good second effort by Johnson. And it'll bring up a 1st and goal.
Yeah, great effort from Johnson, trying to make up for that turnover in the first half. You see him put 2 hands on the football. I'd run the football here.
They're with you, Grease, on the ground. Banging inside the 5-yard line. It's Beatty. Beatty was so important on that game-winning drive from a week ago. Accounted for 46 of the 99 yards. Drew Lock was looking around last week, had freshmen everywhere he looked. Had a freshman left tackle protecting his backside, had Beatty at the back, had Jalen Knox as a wide receiver, calmly moved down the field and got him in field goal range for the game-winning score at Purdue. 2nd and goal. On the ground, Beatty crashes in for the score. And Missouri answers back in what has been an explosive second half. So each team now has 2 touchdowns here in the 3rd quarter.
Boy, this game seemed like it was out of hand, but it's really not. They're going to go for 2 here.
In a 13-point game.
Try to get it to 11, which get to touchdown, and a 2-point conversion and a field goal. This game is far from over.
13-point game, yes, to try to get it to 11 with the 2-point conversion. Not the best color man in the league for nothing. And the flag flies.
Delay a game.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still a try.
That'll leave a mark.
Well, you know, sometimes this happens, and sometimes it's on purpose because it's very difficult to throw the football into the end zone from the 2-yard line. It's actually easier from the 7-yard line, in my opinion. Give yourself a little bit more space between the routes, and sometimes you'll see, you know, defensive coaches decline this penalty.
You can see there was still some of the smoke that is clearing after the touchdown celebration. They had a real issue here 2 weeks ago in the Wyoming game, trying to get an extra point, and nobody could see through the smoke and botched the whole play.
I understand Emmanuel Hall is not at his full strength, but I'd still give him a shot.
Here's Locke throwing, and it is caught for the 2-point conversion. Okuegbunam, the tight end. And it is, in fact, an 11-point game.
That was a big-time throw there. And based off the route that they ran, I think it was purposeful that they took to the delay of the game because it gave a little bit more space for Okuegbunam to work in the middle of the field. So they run just like a stutter. He looks like he's going to go out and then comes back in. It was actually well defended by Tyreek McGee, but just a better throw and catch from Drew Lock.
Okuegbunam in heavy traffic, great concentration to hang on to that.
And here's the touchdown. Look at the tight end. That's the other tight end. Blanton gets a great seal block on the backside, which opens enough crease to get into the end zone. Both these tight ends from Missouri are excellent. Blanton, an excellent blocker, and Okuegbunam is one of their best outside of Emmanuel Hall at the wide receiver position, probably the most explosive receiver on the team.
Okuegbunam is on Kirk Herbstreit's best kept secrets list. But if he keeps playing like this, everybody's going to know about him, including Adnan Burke.
Leaves, I like the mention of Anderson from Toronto, good Canadian boy. Here's an update on Notre Dame and Wake Forest. Ian Book, the 2-yard keeper, after a touchdown by Canadian Chase Claypool. Here it's 49-13. It's all Irish. The game's on ABC. Kent State, Ole Miss, Scotty Phillips, 2-yard rushing touchdown as the Rebels find enough room there. It's on the SEC Network, 14-10 Ole Miss. Leaves?
All right, Adnan, thank you. This is the SEC opener for Missouri. Georgia already opened their SEC season at the other Columbia. Here's Faurot to throw. Far sideline over the head of Nicole Hartman. Wait a second. What is going on there? Oh, we told you the construction is ongoing here at Memorial Stadium.
Hey, you're pure pressure.
Was that McShay?
I think it was.
Are you sure? I blame you. I'll take that blame. Ben Cleveland is being attended to down on the field. The redshirt sophomore. Coming up on 90 seconds to play here in the third quarter. A third quarter that has seen 4 touchdowns, 2 by each. And Missouri's not shrinking here. They are staying in this football game. So we take a look at today's unexpected outcome. Brought to you by ExxonMobil. People love to play 2 quarterbacks these days.
You know where you're going with that one.
But we've only seen Justin Fields for 1 play so far in this game.
It's interesting. The top 3 teams in the country, yes, are all playing 2 quarterbacks. I think Georgia is a little bit different. I think Alabama certainly is using Jalen Hurts in a lot of different ways, and we know about Tua. And then Trevor Lawrence really is the passing quarterback, for lack of a better term, for Clemson. Georgia's quarterback is undisputed, in my opinion. It's Jake Fromm. And Justin Fields, I think you see Kirby Smart is just trying to get him some reps because they only have 2 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster. Right. So if something happened to Jake Fromm, you want to have the true freshman with a little bit of experience.
Yes, you have to get him right. So this is the trend, though, right? So these are top teams playing two quarterbacks for the most part, and very young quarterbacks, right? We're seeing freshman quarterbacks. We saw it in the national championship game. 2 freshmen starting quarterbacks a year ago, and you're still seeing freshman quarterback playing huge roles on these big-time teams.
Well, and Jake Fromm was a true freshman last year, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's a little bit different with respect to Georgia.
Yes.
In that Fromm is their undisputed leader. A lot of it is the transfers of quarterbacks. It's an epidemic in college football right now. If you don't start as a young player, you're out. You're gone.
You're gone.
So coaches feel that they have to play these freshmen, maybe even before they're ready to play. This would never happen where Justin Fields is playing quarterback, 10, 15 years ago when you had an established starter.
And Jake Fromm, again, is established indeed. On the ground, and DeAndre Swift trying to turn the corner.
Number 7, DeAndre Swift, the ball carrier.
Can we get him a... He looks concerned, by the way. Can we get a hard hat for McShay,
I'm not
please?
concerned. I'm winded, man.
He's out of breath.
How many feet did you say, Chris? 125 feet, fellas.
Wow.
Best seat in the house. This is amazing.
So tell me about that safety meeting again. How'd that go?
Not well. I don't even have the hard hat on.
DeAndre Swift.
All right, so now we need Todd to analyze this next play from his perch.
I told you, they said don't look down, right? I don't have a choice now. Just keep sticking it to me.
How you feeling, big boy?
Good. It's really cool. Really cool.
Hey, what's in that cooler to your left if you look down? Grab me something out of there, will you?
I might find out. I might need it. Settle the nerves.
That's a great shot. Great look. The fearless Todd McShay. He knows no end of where it takes to go get the story. Terry Godwin has first down yardage.
So what happened while I was gone? Looks like it got close, huh?
How long did it take you to get up there?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yep.
Did they tell you it's harder to get down than to get up?
I haven't asked yet. One thing at a time.
Todd, can you go down to the field and tell us about the field conditions? I'm curious as how the turf is doing there.
I'm just glad
I can't
there's
believe people work up here.
I'm glad there's no wind.
Right.
All right, I'm getting out of here.
You want to take us to break, Todd?
From a beautiful view, Columbia, Missouri. We'll be back fourth quarter.
Back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. You can see Truman the Tiger. He's feeling it. Nicknamed Truman because of one of the most famous Missourians ever, President Harry S. Truman. But you already knew that. As Kenny Maynard said, that's common knowledge. Back to open up quarter number 4, and a big shot wide open middle of the field to Mecole Hardman for 6. You'll never have an easier touchdown. 54 yards for the score.
One of Jim Chaney's favorite protections, a waggle. You just roll the quarterback out, you move the pocket a little bit, and it gives you time for Mecole Hardman on the outside to go down, up, and to the post. You need time to execute this route. That's why you roll out, and it's perfectly executed from Mecole Hardman, and that speed is deadly on the back end.
Because there was no gold jersey in the picture frame. I mean, nobody home for Missouri.
And I love that play call. A long timeout at the end of the quarter. You're in, around midfield, and the game is close again, an 11-point game, and Jim Chaney has all day to talk to Jake Fromm and put that thing together and get everybody on the same page and take a shot. That's well done.
Where was the Missouri defense there?
This was a problem last week against Purdue, right? The secondary was torched. Over 500 yards of offense, and you see this. Been a bunch of big plays in this game. A bunch of big plays.
Touchdown passes from Fromm this half. 33 yards, 61 yards, 54 yards. Big chunk plays, explosive everywhere you look. 5 touchdowns. as we are one play into the fourth quarter in the second half.
And there was only one touchdown in the first half.
One offensive touchdown, yeah. 40-22. Touchback, and we send it back to Ed Hamburg.
Okay, leaves an update on what's happening over the SEC Network. Kent State, Ole Miss. This is Ole Miss at home versus a MAC team. And Jordan Thomas and Marcus Lodge. What a hurdle. Almost goes all the way out to the races, but on the very next play, it's Ta'amu to DK Metcalf with a spectacular one-handed catch. We'll see that on College Football Final. Ole Miss up 21-10 in the third. Leaves?
All right, Adam, thank you. This is the first time since 2015 at Tennessee that Georgia has recorded a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown in the same game. Leonard Floyd had a 96-yard fumble return, and Reggie Davis 70-yard punt return for a score. Here's Locke, hit as he throws, trying to go back shoulder and completes. Able to hook up with Albert O.
Well, this is the third or fourth time in this game that the edge pressure has gotten to Drew Lock, and you see outside Albert O is a mismatch. That's a corner, and Stokes trying to guard him, but this is a reoccurring problem. Patrick comes off the edge this time. There's an issue with protection. It's either Lock's responsibility or the tackle's responsibility.
On the grounds of Beatty. The catch by Okue Bunam was his 6th of the game. He is their leading receiver for 52 yards.
And all of the responsibility in the passing game really has come down to Albert O, because without Emmanuel Hall, they don't have another really stalwart wide receiver. And their next best receiver is the tight end.
You do wonder how different this game would have been if Hall was at 100%. He really had his coming out game 1 year ago against Georgia. 4 catches, a $141, 2 touchdowns. He was blowing by some people, but simply unable to do so today. There's Beatty. Will be knocked out of bounds, short of the first down. Tonight on ABC, number 7 Stanford, number 20 Oregon. We expect Bryce Love back and in a big way. Coverage kicks off 8 Eastern and streams on the ESPN app. That will be fun to watch tonight. Game day was awesome today. Nobody loves the duck more than the Corso. Great atmosphere.
You know who nobody's talking about in that game?
Tell me.
Jim Leavitt, the defensive coordinator for Oregon. I think that was one of the best pickups a couple of years back, and Leavitt has changed the way Oregon plays defense.
After a couple of down years, trying to get back up to the top. Locke sailed that over Kendall Blanton's head. You see Locke is still picking himself up off the turf.
When this game is over, and if Georgia's able to hold on to this victory, and they're on the team playing going back, Kirby Smart is going to feel real good about DeAndre Walker. They've been trying to find that pass rush. They only came into this game with 1 sack on the season in 3 games, and they have got consistent pressure on Drew Lock in this football game, and that was priority number 1 for Mel Tucker and Kirby Smart.
4th and 1 at midfield. Going to throw to get it. And complete to Blanton. Looking to jump over the defender inside the 40. Got up on top of Richard LeCount for the gain of 11.
Now Blanton goes 265, Steve, okay, and LeCount is 190. So that's 75 pounds that he has on LeCount. Why would you try to jump over the guy?
I don't know. It was in his face for sure. Here's Beatty taking on contact.
You're right. There is no quit in Missouri. And we were talking with Barry Odom. He said no matter what happens in this game today, that our guys are going to keep swinging. Keep swinging for 4 quarters.
Beatty can't get back to the line. Again, it's DeAndre Walker. Makes the stop along with Julian Rochester. Georgia will be home next week. Tennessee will come to visit. Next up for Missouri, they get their bye, and then they'll be out South Carolina as we get into the meat of the SEC season.
It's going to be interesting to see, that SEC East. Who's the second best team in the East?
That's a great question.
Kentucky, maybe?
That's
Vandy?
a great question. Timeout, Missouri.
First charge, timeout, Missouri.
We'll let you think about that. We'll let you ponder that situation. The SEC East. Wide open for the second spot anyway. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. All-State, we thank you. And we thank Todd McShay. America needs to know that McShay has safely returned to Earth.
I am here. That was wild. A lot of fun. About the second ladder when we were about 40 feet up. That's when the first real question of doubt came in.
Was it more difficult to go up or down, Todd?
Up, because I think nerves. I don't know what I'm getting into.
Third down and 3. Fake the pitch to Beatty. Lock the throw. It's Plant. Rather, Alberto, the other tight end, with his 7 catch. So, Tom, my question, did you get a text message up there? Like, was your wife texting concerned about your well-being and your health?
No one actually was texting me. Maybe I should be concerned about that. Everything worked, though.
Beatty on the ground. We're glad you're back safely.
Can you imagine that the one guy who's up there still climbs up there every single day and works that crane, bringing all of this steel in. Wow. It's amazing.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, these people work for a living.
Seriously.
They got a real job, man. On the ground. Beatty again on second and short. His forward progress will give them the first down as we wind towards 11 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. With Georgia leading Missouri 40-22. Watt's gonna keep it up the middle, end zone, touchdown. Drew Lock runs in for the score.
And I don't think that Drew Lock is going to give up in this football game. They just keep answering, keep coming back. They won't go away. That was an impressive drive. Throwing the football to the tight end Alberto, running the football with Beatty, who is emerging as a factor, as a true freshman at the running back position for Missouri.
11 plays, 75 yards for the score. There's Tucker McCann to boot it through. Tonight, it's the headliner of this college football weekend. Stanford, Oregon, top 20 showdown on ABC. We'll get to see Bryce Love. Sat out last week, probably sat out just to get ready for this one, to make sure. Again, we talked about Justin Herbert, quarterback. The chance for the country to see him. Actually ahead of Marcus Mariota's pace during his Heisman campaign in 2014. So it's been an explosive second half. I certainly hope you've enjoyed it as well. We've seen 6 touchdowns, 3 by each team, after we saw just 1 offensive touchdown in the first half. And
Still a game.
Yeah, Missouri's hanging around, and that is impressive.
They just won't go away.
Right.
I mean, Georgia has some explosive plays, the one to Holloman, and then the big touchdown to Hardman. But Missouri keeps answering. It's only 11-point game. 10.5 minutes left in this game. And with the weapons that they have on offense, this game is not over by any stretch.
And Grease, you and McShay know what the NFL scouts are looking for. So Drew Lock, didn't have a great first half, wasn't helped out by his skilled position teammates, but to show his willingness to keep fighting, even if they don't win this game, to fight through that adversity, that'll go a long way, I would think, towards impressing NFL types.
Absolutely.
And impressing Adnan Burke.
I still can't believe McShay went all the way up there. All right, guys, coming up next, it's Will Greer, Heisman Trophy candidate, because he can sling at those great receivers, high-powered offense. They're hosting Kansas State. That is the next game right here on ESPN. Steve, back to you and Brian.
You know what that last score does, tell me, is it just puts a little bit of pressure on Jake Fromm. There's really no room for error to take chances throwing the football here. If I'm Missouri, I'm going to keep the pressure on defensively. I'm going to come after, try to force a turnover.
On the ground, Elijah Holyfield, and he'll rumble towards midfield. This is significant. Jake Fromm has not seen a fourth quarter. This is the first time he has played in the fourth quarter this season. They have been blowing people out. Austin Peay 45-0. The South Carolina game was a game at the half. It was 41-17 the final. Then poor Middle Tennessee, they had them 49-7. So we wanted to ask that. That was the question at the top. Would Georgia be tested into the fourth quarter? And here we are in an 11-point game.
And this is where they really want to rely on this offensive line. Can Missouri's defensive line continue to play deep into the fourth quarter against this physical approach?
Holyfield on the ground. Not that time. Walter Palmore, the senior from Columbus, comes up to make the big stop. 2nd and 8.
I think Georgia's going to take as much time as they possibly can. No rush at all. Going to bleed as much clock as they can.
Impressed by this Missouri defensive line all day, going up against, like you said, Greasy, an average of 320 pounds across that offensive line, and they have hung in there and fought.
2nd down and 8. It's Holyfield into the secondary and then some. Gain of 19. Look at the Bulldogs again.
Yeah, and it's just as good and as strong as Missouri's defensive line has played. It's just they can't withstand this much strength and power up front for 4 quarters. And when you have guys like Holyfield, DeAndre Swift, James Cook in that backfield and their speed, very difficult to get them on the ground.
12 carries for 84 yards for Elijah Holyfield. Brian Herrien has checked in now. He's at the top of your screen. On the ground. That's Herrien. You know, we mentioned Derek Dooley, the offensive coordinator from Missouri, and people wondering, Vince is in town, the legendary head coach and athletic director at Georgia. He is in town. There was his internal battle. Should he come to the game? Hey, his son is, on the other sideline. He's the famous Georgia guy. His grandson is on the scout team for Georgia as a wide receiver. We actually don't know if he's in the building here today, but that was a big deal all week in the build-up leading up to this game. Thought of so highly by so many. Faurot will keep it. And he'll get slammed down just outside the 20. Vince Dooley was the head coach of Georgia from 1964 through 1988. Brought home 6 SEC titles in the 1980 championship game. And we were wondering if maybe he was offering any help on some offensive play calling. He gave him 1 play, 2 plays?
He gave Barry Odom, he gave Barry Odom 2 plays. It was toss right, which, you don't have Herschel Walker here. So,
give it to Herschel,
and then roll right and throw it in the hedges. That was the 3rd down call.
Thanks for the help, Coach. 1st down and 10. Herrien again on the ground. Picks up a yard. Terez Hall made the stop. Another senior from Georgia. That feels good against the Bulldogs.
This is exactly what Jim Chaney wanted to do here, was just continue to lead this clock, run, big physical. You see their season average of 272 yards a game. Today a little bit below that, but now they're starting to wear on this defensive line in the 4th quarter.
On the ground, DeAndre Swift for a couple. Cale Garrett makes the stop. Swift did a one-on-one with John Frierson, and Frierson had asked Swift about what he learned from Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. He said, stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. I think that's interesting. He also said he hates Brussels sprouts and loves his dad's yams. That's what we got on DeAndre Swift, courtesy of that one-on-one with John Frierson.
Take a look at this hit on Jake Fromm there at the end. A little cheap shot from Trey Williams. Of all the things that this officiating crew have called, right, in this game, certainly went against Georgia early, but they missed that one.
7 straight running plays. Now they'll throw, and Fromm will skip it to Mecole Hardman. 4th down.
I think Fromm was affected by that hit by Trey Williams. I'll tell you, as a quarterback, when you hand the ball off, your whole body relaxes. You're not anticipating to get hit. And then he got blindside hit in the back when you're not expecting it. It's one thing when you have the ball and you know, okay, I might get hit, but it might have affected that throw on third down.
This is an important field goal attempt by Rodrigo Blankenship, who made his name with that 55-yard field goal in the Rose Bowl. Hit an overtime 50-yard field goal in the championship game as well. Blankenship, it's blocked! Missouri blocks the 36-yard field goal attempt. Might have been Palmore in the middle. And with 6:08 to go here in the fourth, it stays a two-score game.
They just do not want to go away. This Missouri team has a lot of grit. Kind of mirror their head coach and Barry Odom. Palmore keeps him in this game.
College football is presented by Xfinity. Now with ESPN3 available on Xfinity X1. And in part by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Got ourselves a fourth quarter. 6:08 to play here in the fourth. It's Georgia by 11. Palmore did have the block of that critical field goal to keep it a two-score game. Well, keep it an 11-point game. Yep. And we'll see how Locke responds. It's Albert O on the receiving end. Okue Bunam now has 8 catches. He's been the go-to guy.
I think that looks like might be DeAndre Baker, the preseason All-American corner. He's the best player in the secondary for Georgia. He was in man-on-man coverage with Albert O and a bigger man. See what happened. Looked like Patrick, the linebacker, Natrez Patrick, might have got a knee in the head. This is a good football player right here. He's a lockdown corner, one of the more instinctive corners. Todd McShay and I were talking about it this week, one of the more instinctive corners in college football. Todd's got him very high on his list for next year's draft.
Number 2 cornerback. I think he's going to be a first-round pick when it's all said and done. He, doesn't have ideal size, but he's got everything else. He reminds me of Jordan Lewis, star out of Michigan a couple of years ago, who's been playing well for the Dallas Cowboys.
7 career interceptions in 24 games. Impressive numbers.
It's a tough time to come out of this football game for him, though. They need to get a stop here, and if I'm Drew Lock, I'm going to be aggressive, knowing the best cover corner for Georgia is now out of the game.
Eric Stokes will slide over. He had the blocked punt for a touchdown. That's Stokes in the bottom of your screen. See if Lock looks that way. That ball's tipped at the line of scrimmage. It will fall harmlessly away. David Marshall able to knock that one down. There's a lot of balls tipped at the line today.
Going to learn a lot about Drew Lock here on this drive. I think they're going to play zone coverage. And now DeAndre Baker's coming back onto the field. Nice to see that he's okay, so they can still play man-to-man. But Drew Lock needs to be patient right here. He needs to take what the defense gives him. You don't need to score in one big play.
Pressure up the middle. Lock will get rid of it. It's Albert O again. That's his 9th catch. It's already a career high. His previous was 7 against Wyoming. DeAndre Baker had the coverage on.
I'll tell you what's interesting, Steve, is now Georgia is putting DeAndre Baker on Albert O, because that's the biggest threat from a receiver position for Missouri right now. It's not Emmanuel Hall, it's the tight end.
3rd down and 3.
Looks like a pressure look.
Locke sails it. Could not hit Albert O again, and it's Mark Webb on the coverage. And it brings up a 4th and 3. And I think you got to go here. Missouri has 2 timeouts remaining, but with 5 minutes left, trailing by 11.
Yeah, this is probably a 50-50 deal here. I mean, you got the 2 timeouts. I might punt this football, see if we can get a stop, but they've had such a hard time stopping the run game at Georgia that I can see why Barry Odom decided to go for it.
So here we go. Rushing really free. Locke able to complete very close to the marker. It's Crockett out of the backfield, and he didn't get to the line to gain.
Boy, it's great effort from DeAndre Baker. He was actually on the ground and was able to make the tackle from a prone position on the ground. There's Baker on the ground, doesn't give up on it, and comes up, and I think you're right. I think he came up short.
Line judge has a nice view of it. Chris Conway is the line judge. We'll bring the sticks out.
That's short.
Well, it looked like when he caught the ball, he was going to be able to get there. And that Georgia defense closed fast. Missouri turns it over on downs. Georgia football up 11. For sure, some great quarterback play there, and we have seen some great quarterback play here. We had obviously time in that television timeout to look closely at how close they were to getting that first down.
Yeah, and if you look here, you track where the ball is. It's where the ball is, not where the player is. You see the first down marker, and then here's the stripe right there. And I don't think that ball ever got to the stripe. I think the call stands, and I think that was the right call.
Maybe the left shoulder or the right shoulder does, but not the football itself.
And again, a great play by DeAndre Baker, getting up off the ground and preventing that first down, because you're right, Crockett would have easily got the first down.
Missouri did challenge that spot. So they lost the timeout. They're down to 1. And we expect Georgia to pound the rock here. Put it on the ground to DeAndre Swift. Back to the line of scrimmage. Trey Williams made the stop. Hey, broadcast family has to take care of each other. Quick shout out to Mizzou radio man Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers today, calling his 300th game.
Wow.
That's a lot of football. Good on you, Mike, and congratulations. He was honored here at halftime. The voice of the Tigers. There you see the points off turnovers. Look, we thought coming in Missouri had to do everything right. They could not afford to turn the football over. Strong in the special teams, and that first half really caught up with them.
That was the first thing out of Barry Odom's mouth when we talked to them last night with the turnovers. And he brought up 2 years ago, and kind of the same things happened. 5
turnover game there. It's Swift again stumbling down. Clock will wind as we come up on third down, and now we'll call a timeout. Missouri will use their final timeout. 4:06 to play. Third down. See if the Tigers can get that football back. Stakes early, and here's a good look at it. This game might be a different story if not for these players.
Yeah, certainly, especially in the first half. They were really loose with the football, missed the field goal. This was a big one, I think, Johnson, because they were driving there. That was an easy pickup. Blocked punts, we've had blocked field goals, and then we've had a lot of pressure on Drew Lock. And Georgia has forced the issue defensively, I think, in this football game.
That's a good boy right there. Wait, where's McShay? Third and 11. Fromm will take a shot down the sideline. It is caught. Riley Ridley went up to get it for the first down. Well, you think they're going to run the ball and choose some more clock?
I love it. I love this play call. Great position on the back shoulder throw. That's an unbelievable catch from Riley Ridley. They have taken advantage of DeMarcus Acey and man-to-man coverage repeatedly in this football game.
It's good for 28 yards and great body position. The footwork by Ridley as well. Impressive in that spot.
They've been looking for somebody, right, to step up. Javon Wims is gone, and if they're going to go where they want to go, where Georgia fans think they can go, they're going to need number 8, Riley Ridley, to step up this season.
Now on the ground to Holyfield. Turn the corner, lower those shoulder pads, and the clock will wind. I think they probably caught the Missouri defense napping. They were expecting a run there, too. Not expecting Fromm to take a shot there.
But AC's a 6'2 cornerback, too. So 6'2 on 6'2, it just, the corner was a little bit late getting up.
AC was injured on the first play of last week's game, but practiced all week and was ruled good to go. Under 3 to play now. 2nd down and 4.
This is always your goal. Finish the game on offense. Don't allow the other team any opportunity. You get these first downs, you churn the clock and score, you win the game.
Just ahead of that line of scrimmage. Bring up a 3rd down and short. Georgia has outgained Missouri by just over 20 yards. That's despite running 26 fewer plays. That's because Georgia got some big chunk plays in this game. 3 long touchdown passes. There you see the numbers, the updated numbers.
That's been an impressive game from Georgia. Hasn't been pretty by any stretch. Okay, they didn't do much offensively at all in the first half. But in the second half, they started to throw the ball down the field a little bit to Hardman for a big touchdown. And now to Ridley on a 3rd down, and they've got it going.
It's Hardman, takes the direct snap out of the Wildcat. Mecole Hardman. And he's dropped by Chris Turner. It'll be 4th down, but there is a flag down.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 77, offense. 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. The down counts. It's 4th down. That was number 77's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
And that's not going to be his last, by the way. That's Cade Mays. He is supposed to have a real nasty edge to him. He's a tough guy. He's a true freshman from Knoxville, Tennessee. They have very high hopes for him.
There's a 5-star offensive tackle, a big get for Kirby Smart, and just a little push back and forth, and Elliott gives him a shove. They always catch the second guy, just in case you didn't know that.
Yeah. How many star recruit again were you, Grease? I keep forgetting that. Was it?
Yeah, they didn't have stars back then.
Got it.
That was a bad call, too. Just a little push on the shoulder. This crew needs to toughen up a little bit, like Uga.
He looks rough and ready, too.
The side profile is the best of the Bulldog. Drool and the tongue. It's not even hot today.
He's looking for lunch. Rodrigo Blankenship, a 40-yard attempt. He's just 2 for 4. The last time, remember, the blocked field goal to keep it an 11-point game. This to make it a 14-point lead for the number 2 team in the country, Georgia. Tonight, over on ABC, it's Stanford and Oregon. Pac-12 North Division showdown that'll have the whole country watching. Then on ESPN, after Arizona State and Washington, it's SportsCenter with Stan and Neil. Herbie and Chris Fowler break down that Stanford-Oregon game. Get reactions post-game from Urban Meyer, I would think, will be rather significant tonight. Watch for that. The big game on ABC, and then the big SportsCenter show with Stan and Neil from Los Angeles after Arizona State and Washington. Todd, we started the afternoon today talking about Drew Lock, and you said the first tape the NFL types will look at will be, games against Georgia, games against Alabama. What will they see when they put that tape in?
I think on the positive end, you saw a guy who struggled in the first half, and a lot of it had to do with drops and his receivers not living up to their end of the bargain, but he grinded through. And he showed a lot of different looks. I thought there were times where he was a little bit late going from one read to the next. But, this is one of the more complicated defenses and one of the most physical defenses you're going to face all year. I think the body language got better as the game went on. He was just frustrated in the first half and into the early third quarter. But I was really impressed with his mobility at times and then the way he just hung in there.
Here's Adnan Verk.
Hi, Steve. I want to let you know Kansas State and West Virginia currently starting from Morgantown on ESPN News. It'll be right here on ESPN once your game concludes. Part of a quadruple header today on ESPN. For now, though, back to Columbia. Steve, Brian, and Todd, bring it home.
All right, Adnan will do. Minute 41 to play here in the fourth.
You know, I thought the window of opportunity has been closing for Drew Lock, right? That's what is coming to mind for me. As a senior, you want to, in your senior year, to be competing for a championship. They didn't play clean enough today to compete against Georgia. Georgia is the class of the SEC East. Not quite sure who the second best team is. Missouri may still have an opportunity to lay claim to that in upcoming weeks, but we'll see.
I think Missouri beats some other people today. Beats teams other than Georgia.
Yeah, well not with the amount of turnovers and ugly play, right?
Right.
I mean, I get it. I think defensively they showed up today, and especially in the first half. The other thing that's interesting to me is Drew Lock and the relationship with Derek Dooley. You know, Derek Dooley said, our relationship hasn't been tested yet.
Because they haven't had any adversity.
That's right. And I think after this performance today, we'll see how that relationship grows.
And they actually discussed it. He said, let's talk about our first fight before we actually have our first fight. And that might be good advice for some marriages, I would think, as well. Let's get this out of the way. Are we going to fight fair or not going to fight fair?
Well, and the turnovers were not bad decisions by Drew Lock. It's not by any stretch. It's really been the complementary cast of offensive players that have let him down today.
And it's too easy to probably say the Georgia defense forced all those. Some of those were really self-inflicted turnovers by Missouri. Going to bring up the fourth. And you get a good look at that helmet. So they've got this great segment on SportsCenter. It's called Gear Up. It's right before game day, and they show off the uniforms of the day. And so Gear Up featured Missouri's Gold Rush today. Take a look at those helmets. See that logo? That is not a decal. That is not a lazy sticker. That is painted on the helmets. The Gold Rush here at Missouri. So good job by the equipment people. And a good job by Gear Up. They'll turn it over on downs with a minute 18 left.
Well, Missouri, as you mentioned, they get a week off and then back-to-back road games, South Carolina, and then, they have the pleasure of going to Tuscaloosa after that.
Is that what you call that?
That's a tough draw out of the East, Georgia and Alabama.
Mention the 5 top 10 teams on the road. We saw Penn State in a tough one last night into the third quarter, but Georgia was in an 11-point game. Maybe they found out something about themselves. They'll be tested further down the road. Maybe they found a little bit more about themselves here today.
I really like the way they finished on offense and running the football. They came in and kicked that field goal. Don't leave anything to doubt. Jake Fromm was efficient. He's been efficient all year, but I really thought he played well in the second half. One of the things he said he wanted to improve on in the offseason was crunch time, decision-making, and making plays. And in the second half, when this game was still in the balance, he made those big plays down the field.
Georgia's going to go to 4-0 overall, 2-0 in the SEC for the third time in 4 years, but I think that means little to their fans. The season cannot be a success unless or until they get to the SEC championship game, the playoff, and then the national championship game. When you've been there and been so close as they were a year ago, that fabulous Rose Bowl and the fabulous championship game a year ago, both going to overtime. Pretty entertaining afternoon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that that game in Death Valley when Georgia plays LSU on the 13th. That'll be a dandy.
Well, this one had everything. Number 2, Georgia, a winner 43-29 here in Columbia over Mizzou. Up next, the Big 12 showdown. Kansas State takes on West Virginia with Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, producer Josh Hoffman, director Mike Schwab. I'm Steve Levy. So long as we send you to Mountaineer Field.